and in Oshkosh off the interstate. Order now and pick up your free hot pizza shortly. I love the pepperoni. It's the amazing mine shaft.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 9:01, it's 36 degrees. A dense fog advisory remains in effect for southeast Wisconsin until noon. Quarter-mile visibilities in some spots. Rain late today as well, a high of 40. Rain tonight and fog with a low of 36. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. President Joe Biden making a stop in Superior, Wisconsin today and bringing with him some bipartisan infrastructure law funding.
It's been nearly 2 years since President Biden's last visit to the Blatnick Bridge in Superior. The president returning this time with a big check. White House Assistant Press Secretary Olivia Dalton tells WTMJ
$1 billion to make sure that the Blatnick Bridge remains operational.
A facelift, she says, is needed.
It's a vital commercial corridor that sees the flow of billions of dollars worth of goods.
The bridge was slated for decommissioning by 2030 because it was in such bad shape. Dalton says if that were the case, it
was going to be a real economic blow to the region and to our country.
Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
In southeast Wisconsin, Milwaukee Public Schools will soon ask voters to increase the tax levy due to rising costs. Senior advisor to the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce, Tim Sheehy, tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News he thinks there are other ways to improve the system.
MPS has lost 20% of its students over the last decade, and we have the same number of schools. The district needs to right-size itself, or we're going to continue to see these property tax increases with no improvement in student outcome.
A similar referendum was passed for the district in 2020. Another day of intense military exchanges between Israel and Hamas.
The Israeli army says it has ruled out the possibility its tanks or aircraft fired on a UN facility sheltering refugees in southern Gaza. That after the IDF conducted an operational investigation. At least 12 Gazans killed and dozens wounded Wednesday. In the blast, a top UN official appeared to blame on Israel, tweeting the buildings were hit with, quote, 2 tank rounds. The IDF says it's possible a Hamas rocket misfired, hitting the shelter. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Back at home, Aldi has plans to widen its footprint in southeast Wisconsin, with the Germany-based grocer announcing a 50,000 square foot expansion of its distribution center in Oak Creek. The development will aim to create more space for perishable food items. Aldi's has roughly 24 stores across the Milwaukee area. And the city of Milwaukee tomorrow will sign a formal agreement to establish a new sister city relationship with Kragujevac, Serbia. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson will be joined by the mayor of Kragujevac at the ceremony at City Hall. A display of Serbian culture will follow right after the ceremony. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Good start today for the majors, all green so far. The Dow Jones up 159 points to 37,965. The S&P up 17 to 4,885. And the Nasdaq up 38 points to 15,520. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. The post-Adrian Griffin era begins with a win for the Bucks. We'll have that plus your roads and 5-day forecast up next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:04.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is with complete confidence stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Sun, 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 fun, fun, fun. Sun, 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 every kind of boat under the sun.
That boat show music is back, and so is Wisconsin's largest boat show. Everything from family runabouts, ski and surf boats, fishing boats, luxury pontoons, and more Great Lakes cruisers and motor yachts. We have the boats. Shop for skis, boards, and tubes at the Tubers Truckload Sale. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com.
January 19 through 28, State Fair Park.
New year, new ride. Griffin brings you the ultimate New Year special. $179.95 for a complete car pampering, oil change, tire inspection and rotation, air filter and wiper blade replacement, multi-point inspection, battery check, and heat inspection. Drive into the new year with confidence, only at one of Griffin's 5 service departments. See Griffin for details and restrictions.
Time for a WTMJ sports update.
Beyond 35 points, 18 boards, and 10 assists from Giannis. The Bucks, a day after firing head coach Adrian Griffin, beat the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night. This one by a final of 126-116.
Giannis with a big swooping jam as he sends it down. Look out below. The Greek Freak taking that one out on the rim.
The Bucks with the win, securing their 3rd in a row, and will next host Cleveland again tomorrow night. Over to college hoops, where the number 14th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles won their 3rd game in a row on Wednesday night, beating DePaul on the road 86-73.
Got Mitchell, 3 in the corner.
Wow.
Sweet Davy Mitchell.
And lastly, as the Packers search for their next defensive coordinator, the Michigan Wolverines will be on the search for their next head coach, as Jim Harbaugh has reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal to become the next LA Chargers head coach on Wednesday night.
I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Overall looking quite good across the system. You've got a clear ride on 94 East from Highway 16 all the way to the zoo, as well as on 94 from Highway 100 all the way up to downtown. Our only real slow spot right now remains on 43 from about Silver Spring to just north of Capitol Drive. It'll be a little bit slow. And also on 43 north from Fond du Lac Avenue towards Keefe will be just a tad slow in that direction as well. The WTMJ 5-day forecast for today, a dense fog advisory in effect until noon. It'll be cloudy throughout the day, rain likely late in the afternoon towards the evening hours with a high of 40. Foggy rain continues tonight with a low of 36. More fog will look very similar to today tomorrow with a high of 41. Cloudy, less fog likely on Saturday and 41 again. 39 and cloudy on Sunday, 38 and mostly cloudy for your Monday. Right now in Madison, cloudy skies and 33 degrees. Same in Green Bay. Waukesha checking in cloudy and 32. And in Milwaukee, fog, clouds, and 36. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Come give us your thoughts on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
And good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Boy, this week is flying by. 9:08 start time. Somebody got a memo. Man, that's unusual. We don't usually start till about 10 after. Somebody got a memo. I'm just teasing my friends on the morning show. All right. I'm going to play a short clip for you. I want you to think about it for about an hour. Let it stew in your brain. Listen to the words of CBS reporter Scott McFarland and digest what he's saying. I've got a bunch of interviews that we're going to get to in the next hour, but at 10 o'clock, we'll sort of chew this one over in the context of where we're at in the state of politics. But listen to this. If you don't know, Scott McFarland is a reporter who's been extensively covering the January 6th trials and cases. Listen to what he has to say.
Hey, it's Scott McFarland in Washington. If you've ever sat through a 2+ hour movie or class or conference, you have some sense of how long that can feel sometimes. For January 6th defendant Carl Cheswick today, it was a 2+ hour sentencing hearing. He had to sit in that chair for 2 hours before finally learning his punishment, learning his fate. Cheswick was then a Chicago police officer on January 6th, convicted at trial, learning his fate today. And the judge, throughout the course of this hearing, Judge Anna Reyes, made clear she was going to show leniency. saying Cheswick was only amid the mob here for 8 minutes, was nonviolent, had no criminal history, and she didn't feel inclined to send him to prison. And she did show leniency. 3 months home detention, 3 years probation, and restrictions on firearms possession, which may very much complicate his efforts to get back into police work. But it wasn't the sentence, nor the length. It was what Judge Reyes said at the end that resonated so much in the room today. She uncorked an unbridled denunciation of January 6th, sometimes in an elevated voice, warning of the risks of democracy that are ongoing. She told Cheswick, "You're of Polish descent. You know what happened to people in Poland during the time of Hitler and Stalin in World War II. She says, that's what happens when democratic guardrails fail. She says that's what happens when democracies fail. She blistered January 6 defendants who draw parallels between themselves or invoke the words of the Founding Fathers, saying the Founding Fathers would be appalled by January 6 and that anybody who thinks otherwise is, quote, idiotic. And she looked to her right at Cheswick and said, I can't convince you. Donald Trump didn't win the 2020 election, but she said anybody who's looked at it for more than 2 seconds would realize there was no widespread fraud, that 60-plus courts across the country have ruled that. It was striking also what it's like being in that cocoon of a courtroom where nobody can interject with conspiracy theories or baseless claims or spew more false statements. There's no platform for that in the courtroom, no positive platform for that in the courtroom. That's so different than so many people's experiences right now in the political sphere. As for Cheswick, he walked out of the courtroom. I asked if he still supports Donald Trump, and he said, yeah, in a big way.
Scott McFarland, CBS News. That's it in a nutshell right there. I mean, first of all, producer Charlie mentioned this while we were listening to that. Brilliant storyteller. He has been in the courtroom for almost all of these cases. Watch this stuff unfold, the absurdity of it, the nonsense, the claims. You know, now we have candidates calling these individuals hostages. First of all, look up the definition of the word hostage. Help yourself out that way. You know, the stupidity that passes for opinion. Yeah, you can have stupid opinions, but don't be afraid to take the heat when someone tells you that's just dumb. Idiotic was the term that the justice and the judge used there. That's exactly right. What do you think? Think about it for a while. We'll get back to that at the 10 o'clock hour. I'm just curious where we're at. This is a very important year, 2024. And as much as I point out the nonsense trend or curve, if you want to use that term, is increasing, not decreasing. And the only way to fight that is to point it out. We are scheduled to be joined by another local leader after the break, this time from Fond du Lac County. We'll see if that happens. I think it's going to. After this on WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hi there. I was trying to report a traffic accident for your traffic reporter, Debbie Lazaga.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, at thehallmazda.com traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Hi, Debbie. It's Michael. Eastbound 894, and there's a fender bender, and these guys are blocking the right lane.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it? Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Universal Windows Direct. If you've been cold in your home, and we've all experienced our very cold Wisconsin winter, don't suffer through one more winter in a cold and drafty home. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Schedule your free in-home estimate today for every 2 windows you buy. Yes, every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus, how about this? Free upgrade to the best way to keep that cold out, triple pane glass. Yes. And, oh, by the way, they'll double your energy tax credit. And if you tell them Scaffidi told you to call, additional $250 off your project. I can't make it any easier than that. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to universalwindowsdirect.com. Universalwindowsdirect.com, and you'll be saying, I love my windows.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
You know, it feels good when I find something really cool and get a great deal on it. But it feels even better when I know that the money I spend actually goes directly to helping others. That's why I shop at St. Vincent de Paul, because I always find the best bargains, and the money I spend stays in Milwaukee County to help fight hunger and eliminate poverty. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton in Greenfield and 23rd in Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
WTMJ Now.
I want to grow up to be a politician.
All right, if you've been listening to the show, you know I'm on my quest to talk to every local leader in the state of Wisconsin, spanning the state, as it were. And we are going right now to Fond du Lac County to talk to their county executive, Sam Kaufman. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I am wonderful. Now, I don't think have we ever talked before?
No, I don't think we ever have. I know you've had the pleasure of talking to Mayor Bishop out of Waupun.
Yeah, he frankly gets too much radio time. Just kidding.
Yeah. Ron likes to hear himself talk.
He does, but he's doing a nice job.
Mayor.
He's doing a great job up there. So tell me, for the folks who don't know, and I know where Fond du Lac County is, been through there many times. Tell us about Fond du Lac County. What do we need to know?
That it is, to me, the greatest county in the entire state. It is just it is a county where we are a blue-collar, agricultural-based county. It's still a atmosphere mentality of, hey, a handshake still means a deal. We look out for our neighbors, and we work hard every day, and family's always first. So It is a fantastic county to be.
All right, so tell me, the big cities in Fond du Lac County, I think I know what they are, but maybe the audience doesn't.
Yeah, we've got City of Fond du Lac is our largest population.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the city of Ripon. The village of Campbellsport, the city of Waupun would be the biggest areas. Then we have North Fond du Lac, which is the village of North Fond du Lac, which also is one of our largest communities.
Everybody thinks of, maybe this isn't even the case anymore, Ripon Good Cookies. Is that still a thing?
Yeah,
Keebler?
no, it's actually not over there with it. They have sold, but Ripon has so many other things going on out there. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but I highly recommend it. Downtown Ripon is really contemporary study. They have a fantastic microbrewery down there called Canoes, and they've just expanded. And when you go downtown, it is amazing. The lights at night on the street, just the storefronts, everything's an amazing place. It's just like Waupun. Waupun has really been changing. When Mayor Bishop came into office, there were some big changes downtown, and it's the same thing. They are now getting a brewery also downtown.
Mm-hmm.
There have been more retail shops open up. We've got more and more people now walking downtown with their families and shopping. And that's exactly what we need. And Mayor Bishop has done a great job down there in Waupun.
As a former elected and someone who created a new downtown revitalization, some of the older communities, that's a big deal for counties and communities across Wisconsin.
Oh, absolutely, because you get these new businesses in there, and obviously there's an increase in the tax base, but it gives you something to do. And I tell you right now, part of the challenge that our county faces, like many counties, is labor shortages. And the idea is this new generation, these younger individuals out there, it's an entirely different mentality, I find. And when I try and recruit and find people to move into the county, or even the younger individuals to stay in the county, it's always the same thing. Well, what is there to do? And so the mentality has been, we need to create the environment in Fond du Lac County that says to them, hey, we've got what you're looking for. And a lot of what these younger generations are looking for is things to do downtown and a lot of outdoor activities. So parks are a big priority. They're always looking for exercise, biking, hiking trails, things they could take the family to. So we have spent a lot of money in Fond du Lac County renovating all of our county parks. We just rebuilt a 7-mile bike trail. You can now go from Fond du Lac to Sheboygan and bike with it. And, so now we're highlighting a lot of what our downtowns are doing, like Waupun, which is a great example of growth. City of Ripon, we go downtown Fond du Lac. That is just fantastic now for nightlife down there. A lot of our fastest communities that are growing are, like, for example, the village of Campbellsport. That is probably our fastest growing community down there. And a lot of these younger individuals want a family still type of setup where they know families first, they can do things with their families with it, and they themselves can go out and have a good time at night with different types of events and activities. So we've got a great county and a lot of great things going on.
That's always a great standard is quality of life, and I know that having known a lot of people that live in that area, that is certainly the standard there. Talk about the economic side of things. Highlight some businesses. You're not going to be able to get to all of them. Some large and small businesses in Fond du Lac County that you look at as sort of local leaders on that side of the equation.
Yeah, well, Mercury Marine. We are the world headquarters for Mercury Marine. And they offer right off of 41 is where their plants are located. That is our biggest employer that we have in the county. Grande Cheese is another large corporation.
Who doesn't like cheese in Wisconsin?
I know. It's Wisconsin. If you don't like cheese, you might have to move to Illinois.
Or Minnesota.
Go root for the Bears or something down there. Or Minnesota, yeah. They do sauerkraut there instead.
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
But, yeah, so we have, and you know what's great about our businesses, our major companies, and even our healthcare, SSM, we have the hospital here. Freighter is now building here. Aurora is now building here also. So a lot of these businesses have been fantastic partners with the county. I created as county executive, I created a naming rights policy. So what we're able to do now, because to me, my view has always been government can't be the answer. They're never going to be the sole answer. And the fact is that we have businesses that are ready to partner with the county. And so by creating that policy, what I've been able to do now is basically say, hey, look, we have this project, for example. Let me give an example of a stage we're building over at our fairgrounds. There'll be a permanent stage. We were short the money, about $300,000. Under the naming rights policy I created, I put out an RFP, request for proposal. National Exchange Bank and Trust and Foundation, one of our largest lending places here, they ponied up $300,000 for the naming rights. We are now covered now without increasing taxes to cover any of those types of activities.
Very nice.
These businesses are ready to step up. They are hungry for this, to partner with us, and I will gladly take their money, because by doing that, our taxpayers don't have to go through and pay extra money for these projects that really in the end help our county grow.
That's a good definition of a great plan. We're talking to Fond du Lac County Executive Sam Kaufman. Tell me what your day's like. I mean, I've talked to local leaders for a long time. I know everybody every day is different, but walk me through what your day is like.
Well, I start out, usually right away having to go through my mass amount of emails I get. And then I work with my assistant to figure out what my calendar is going to be, rearranging calendars. I usually go through and I'm walking into either committee meetings, staff meetings, or some business leader needs to talk to me. I'll go meet with them. I deal with, head out to the UW campus and then talk to staff over there for things. Otherwise, I have 31 departments that I oversee, and I'll have to go through at times and have meetings with department heads, deal with issues that are going on there in a day, or I go through with county board matters that are going on. That I'll have to meet with our county board chairman, Steve Abel, and talk about things that are coming up on the county board. So basically my day runs just meeting after meeting after meeting and speaking events for it. So I know today, in fact, probably in another hour, I have to go speak at a foster care conference that's going on in Fond du Lac and that. And, it's just always different groups I'm talking to. So my day just runs from, basically from half hour to an hour every day doing something. The time I turn around and look out the window, it's already dark again now.
What would you say are biggest challenges?
Well, right now, I have to say it's our labor issue. Like I said, everybody around the state is suffering right now with trying to find a sufficient number of workers, and we're no exception. This younger generation, like I said, they're moving out of the state. They're moving out of our areas to head other places, especially down south. And we don't have the people here to not only fill some of our county positions that we have, because we have quite a few openings, but our businesses around the county are going through and struggling at times trying to find labor and that's always a concern to me, because 10 years from now, what's it going to look like? If you have a drop in the labor market here, how are those businesses going to be able to operate? And then I think what's going to happen is you may see a lot of them moving to automation because they can't fill those positions. So that's what we're challenged with, is trying to get those people here to our motto is live, work, and play in Fond du Lac County. And so we're trying to get them here to stay, and that, or get them to move into the county. But that's our biggest challenge is labor right now.
Fond du Lac County Executive Sam Kaufman. Pleasure to talk to you. We'll have to get Mayor Ron, myself, and you together for lunch, and we'll make Mayor Ron pay.
That would be good. Believe me, he'll forget his wallet. That won't surprise me at all. He'll forget his wallet.
I'm pretty sure he's listening.
Ron does a great job. Nothing but respect for the work he does in Waupun.
He does a fantastic job in the city of Waupun. Pleasure to talk to you. We'll do it again down the road.
Hey, sounds good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Fond du Lac County Executive Sam Kaufman. We're going to do a lot of this in the year ahead. It's got to be more than just politics. But I understand these are local leaders, and politics is part of that. But there's so much more to talk about when you talk about the great state of Wisconsin and beyond. I may even mix in some folks from Northern Illinois, because I know we have a lot of fans and listeners down there as well. All right, we're going to take a break here. Lots more to get to. I've got Rick Essenberg coming up. Well, we got to talk about Trump trials. Can a president pardon himself? Interesting question for Rick, the president of the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. And if you listened to my open, you heard the piece from CBS reporter Scott McFarland, sort of the state of the affair of the country right now, right? We're wondering what it's going to be in 2024. Who's going to win? Who's the candidates? We've got a pretty good idea. And probably more importantly, can we put an end to the nonsense? I don't think so, but I'm curious what you think. 855-616-1620. Quick break here.
More of WTMJ now after this.
This is Libby Collins. Join me Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on WTMJ Conversations when we talk with George Moore, the father of a young man who lost his life to an opioid overdose.
When you don't know what to look for, then you start to realize, after you learn more about opioid addiction, he was thin, didn't eat all the time. But hey, went to college, we never knew.
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Hey, John Mercure here. I'm going on an incredible trip to southern Italy and Sicily. My wife and I would love for you to come with us. October 2024, what an itinerary. A full week in breathtaking Sicily, the stunning seaside towns with their cobblestone piazzas, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the breathtaking Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, taking the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean, sailing to Positano, plus visit historic Pompeii. Won't you come with us? Let me send you information on this great trip. It's john.mercure at WTMJ.com, john.mercure at WTMJ.com. Lots of food, great wine, time for shopping. It's incredible Italy next fall. I'll send you one of our beautiful brochures if you send me an email. john.mercure at WTMJ.com. We'll also be adding on Rome. I love Rome. Come with us, won't you? October 2024, incredible Italy. Breathtaking and stunning. John.Mercure, Mercure at WTMJ.com.
WTMJ Now.
You haven't been to Italy? Go. Had a blast in the Tuscany region of Italy last year. Matter of fact, reminds me, got a bit of a Tuscany trip travelers reunion at the Bavarian Beer House in Glendale on Friday night at 6. And if anyone's thinking about going with Rose Gray and yours truly on our German grandeur trip, we can answer questions about that as well. I know some folks are showing up to ask questions. So, or if you just want to meet Rose, I mean, she's fun. She'll even take a selfie with you, I think. You can meet us at the Bavarian Beer House. We're just showing up. We don't have reservations. We don't have a room. We're just showing up. I hear they have live music. Looking forward to it. It's a great venue. right up there on I-43 on the west side of I-43 in Glendale, not too far from Milwaukee downtown. Fun place. So that's this Friday at 6. So if you want to talk to travelers who went on our previous trip, or maybe even some of the folks who are going on our German grandeur trip in July, and the expert herself, Rose Gray from Fox World Travel, will all be there Friday night at 6, this Friday. Real quick, tease for my Decision Wisconsin. So every week on our website, WTMJ.com, or wherever you get your podcasts, our podcast page, certainly, I do 2 brand new Decision Wisconsin podcasts. And earlier this week, I talked to Jake Curtis, local attorney, who was a advocate for Ron DeSantis. Well, as we know, he dropped out of the race. So we spent a lot of that podcast earlier this week talking about what happens next. So that's available already. And as soon as this morning, the next one's going to drop. We talked yesterday, and we'll publish it today, with Ben Wickler, the chair of the Wisconsin's Democratic Party, on all things state of the race. We'll talk a little bit about the governor's State of the State address, challenges ahead in 2024. It's the Decision Wisconsin podcast, and I'm going to do these all throughout 2024. So as you can imagine, at some point we'll have candidates coming through Milwaukee. Obviously, the convention's here to talk about, the countdown to the RNC. All available wherever you get your podcasts or at WTMJ.com. They're worth a listen. Unplugged, no commercials, very quick, 18 to 20 minutes. Great information so you could be the most informed voter you could possibly be. After the break, my friend Rick Essenberg from the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty, legal scholar, legal expert, and lots to talk about. Trump trials. Can the president pardon himself? We'll ask Rick that question and more after this.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
What's better than free? How about play free all year? This January at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you can win over $2,000 in reward play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games to earn prize drawing entries. Then stop by each Thursday night in January to see if you're a winner. $400,000 in prizes is up for grabs. Over 40 winners each week. Yeah, free is for me. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
It's David Nason, your personal inspection pro from WTMJ's The Fix-It Show. I'm with my go-to basement repair guy, Chris Mancuso of Accurate Basement Repair. This is the team I personally recommend for leaky or cracked basements.
Wow, thanks, David. Our team at Accurate Basement Repair has been fixing leaky and cracked basements for the Fix-It listeners for over 20 years.
That's great, Chris. For more information about how to schedule a free inspection and estimate, check out AccurateBasementRepair.com, because they're not just good, they're accurate.
Here's a penny for your thoughts. There's about 11,000 tire-related crashes every year.
Mostly due to driving around on underinflated, beat-up, worn-out tires with low tread.
A couple of clicks at richlawns.com will get you scheduled for a free tire tread test.
But if you're pressed for time, there's an old trick we use in the tire industry that'll tell you if you need tires.
And that's free, too.
My dad showed me, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from someone else way back in 1964.
Ah, yes. The old penny test.
Yep, just place a penny head first.
As in upside down.
Into the groove of your tire. Now, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, you're due for tires.
And hey, if the free penny test frazzles you, book an appointment at richlawns.com.
If your tires are good,
no harm, no foul, because it won't cost you a penny. Be safe, buckle up, and hang. Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're
due for service.
Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
It's WTMJ Now.
Producer Charlie just mentioned that the latest edition of the Decision Wisconsin podcast with Ben Wickler, chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, is now up at WTMJ.com. Just find our podcast page. And there's a lot of other links you can find throughout our website, but that's the easiest place to find it. And as I said, it's a quick listen, uninterrupted, no commercials, right on point, on target, on focus of the election and all the related stories that have to do with the presidential election in 2024. And sometimes more than that. We added the piece with Ben on the State of the State, which the governor delivered a couple nights ago. We're going to wait here for Rick Essenberg, the president of the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. Lots to talk about. So some of the questions swirling around this race are the legal questions related to Donald Trump. Now, the spectrum of public opinion is this is all a witch hunt to lock him up. That's the easy way to look at it. That's the broad perspective of the American public. Love them, hate them, leave them alone, lock them up. That's it. But there's a lot of legal questions. There's challenges to the ballot. There's certainly election interference cases. There's certainly a document one, which is, as I think Rick has said before on the program, that is the most likely case to result in a conviction. Again, you never know. Maybe there's a jury in Florida that's sympathetic to the former president. You never know with these things. And unless something amazing happens or incredible happens, the race is set up to be Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, basically 2.0, a rematch of 2020. So when we're thinking about this race from that perspective, it is all part of the story, the same story. As much as some people want us to just forget about January 6th and forget about all these cases, they're not going to go away. They will be prosecuted, there'll be trials, and there may or may not be convictions. All right, joining us on the phone line, my friend Rick Esselberg, president of Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I am wonderful on this Thursday. Let's start with this one. A lot of people have been asking this question lately, and I think I've asked you this before, but I guess there's a couple ways we can look at this. If Donald Trump is the nominee, if Donald Trump wins the election in November, can he come into office next January and essentially say, I don't care what you convicted me of, I'm pardoning myself? Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. I mean, we can't know for sure whether it will work because we don't have any instance in history where that has happened. But there are, people who argue that the presidential pardon is unlimited and the president could pardon himself.
Is it a question that the Supreme Court has looked at before? I don't think so, right?
No. Well, no. I mean, I don't believe that there's any president in the United States that ever pardoned himself. I mean, the one that you can think of who at least would have had occasion to do it is Richard Nixon, and he did not pardon himself. Joe full pardon. So we would be in uncharted territory. My guess is that he'd do it, and then the court would have to look at it, and then we have this highly uncomfortable situation where imagine that the court says, well, no, we interpret pardon in the language of the Constitution to mean that, you can pardon other people, but you can't pardon yourself. And then what does Trump do in response to that?
Part of me thinks it's already nutty, and this is going to be a crazy year for all the other cases that he's facing. And then you throw the pardon thing into it if he's elected in November, it takes office in January. I guess from a non-legal perspective, but just from a smart guy perspective, is the country ready to go through this in 2024 and early 2025? Are we ready for this?
No. No, I don't think so. I
love the honesty.
Look, I think that for the most part, with the exception of the documents case, these criminal cases against Trump are ill-conceived. That doesn't mean that his behavior, the underlying behavior that the charges deal with, was admirable, acceptable. It doesn't even mean that it's not, in a moral or political sense, disqualifying. I think it is both of those things. But it's not criminal. However, having said that, I mean, there is the documents case, which I think is different. And there are some live issues surrounding at least the Jack Smith January 6th charges that could be resolved in a way that make the cases prosecutable. And so we are, I think, the Republican Party, by nominating Donald Trump, is running a risk that we will find ourselves in that situation. And I don't think that people have given adequate thought to what that means. I think that on the Republican side, there's this idea that, well, we have to rally around Donald Trump because he's being unfairly treated. And on the Democrat side, I think inadequate thought was given to what the ramifications of this type of aggressive use of the law might mean for the country.
Talking to Rick Esserberg, president of the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. So if I'm looking at these cases, and you are somebody who's been in courtrooms, you've argued cases in front of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, certainly. The courts have been known to be slow, not necessarily quick. Looking at the timeline and just the sheer volume of these cases that the former president's facing, realistically, any of these things close to being wrapped up before the election in November?
Well, I think that the question of whether Trump has access to the ballot could be wrapped up close to November.
The Colorado case.
Before November. Yeah, the Colorado case. The Colorado case is set to be argued in February. My guess is that the Supreme Court will and should reverse the Colorado Supreme Court, and that will be the end of that. However, the Smith January 6 charges, they're set for trial in March, but there are problems. This question of the extent of the president's immunity from criminal prosecution is on appeal to the D.C. Circuit. It's probably going to be a petition for review to the U.S. Supreme Court after that. All that deprives the district court judge of jurisdiction. I don't think that March 5th trial date is going to happen. The document case down in Florida is set to go to trial, I think, on May 20th. But that's a very, very difficult case to move quickly because you have to get security clearance for the various participants in the trial, the lawyers and the people who work for them, so that they can deal with these documents that are at issue there. And so, I think that this uncertainty, unless the court takes up the question of immunity, rules quickly and comes to the conclusion that the president is immune from criminal prosecution, which I think is not the likely outcome, then I think we're going to have this stuff running in the background of the presidential election, maybe through November.
If the court would go against what you just said and gave him immunity, does that end all this stuff for the most part?
Well, it ends It probably ends the January 6th case, although there might be an issue there as to whether or not the actions that he took after the election were done in the scope of his official duties. But if the court says they were, and there are all sorts of permutations of this. The court might say, yes, the president has immunity for actions taken in the course of his official duties, but we're going to remand this case to determine whether or not the post-election conduct was in the course of his official duties as the president of the United States. Or they may come to the conclusion that, yes, the president has immunity, but it's qualified. And you can lose your immunity by stepping outside some band of what is permissible, and the case can be remanded to determine whether or not he's outside that band or not. I think it could end the January 6th case, but it's not certain to end the January 6th case. The Georgia case would probably go along with that. The two cases in New York, which I think are very, very weak cases, and the E. Jean Carroll case, which isn't a criminal case, but yet is very embarrassing to a presidential candidate to be accused of things like that, to say the least. Those are clearly outside the scope of his duties. He wasn't president when those things happened.
Rick Esserberg joining us on WTMJ now, the president of the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. When you think about all of these, these court cases and the action of Donald Trump, and he's showing up at some of these cases and some of these trials, he seems to be willing to push the envelope with conduct and actual public statements of the written kind in the form of posts and whatever the new word for tweet is. Judges have chastised him.
He does a tweet, right? He goes on
Truth Social, yeah. So I don't know what the
Social Donnie.
Yeah. So okay. So is there a judge brave enough? I guess maybe that's not the right term to say, you know what? No, you're not doing this. And What actually could they do to a former president to say, we have to limit this? And I'm not even sure, you can't put him under house arrest, I'm guessing, because he's a candidate for the presidency. What do you do with him?
Well, you could. I mean, he can be held in contempt, and he has been held in contempt, I think, and fined. This is the thing. Trump is leaning into this, and he wants to present himself as, and this is to some extent the nature of his appeal. I mean, a lot of people who don't like Trump, and I surely do not like Trump, think that his appeal is completely nefarious, and they don't understand just how much the progressive left has alienated much of the country. And so they're willing to live with Trump, in part because they think the progressive left is so bad, and in part because he seems to be the guy that annoys them the most, right? He's the guy that sticks his thumb in their eye, and it's kind of like, the worst enemy of my enemy is my best friend type of thing. And he's leaning into that, I think, with the way that he's responding to all of this stuff. And the problem that he's going to face is that, it can get him 50% of the vote in Republican primaries, at least for a while. I don't know how long that's going to last. You remember in 1980 when Teddy Kennedy challenged Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter thumped him in the first, I don't know how many, 7, 8, 9, 10 primaries. Because he got a lot of sympathy because the hostages were being held. Mm-hmm. And that sympathy wore itself out after a while. And I think the interesting thing here is, and maybe the reason why Haley is planning to stay in the race is, that sympathy for Trump, I don't think it's likely to run out among Republican primary voters, but it might. But even if it doesn't, he gets the nomination, which seems like the most likely thing to happen. It doesn't play as well in the general election, and the Trump people should be very, very concerned about Haley's performance with independents in New Hampshire, and they should be very, very concerned about a lot of polling that shows that a very significant proportion of Republican voters say they won't vote for him if he's convicted of something.
Rick Esselberg, President of Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. Quickly before we let you go back to your fun times there, I know you're still working, but you also enjoy your life down in Florida.
Well, I'm looking at a couple of ducks on the canal right now. I'm swimming in the sun, so I'm sure it's the same. You have the same view, don't you?
Yeah, no, unfortunately I don't. I'm envious. So given all we've gone through with Donald Trump and the court cases and all that and the challenges to 2020, any possibility, regardless if he's a nominee or he's not, or whatever happens in the general election, any possibility that we're not just reliving the last 3 years and the next 3 years, given that he's the person?
Well, one of my colleagues has this saying that people don't change. And I don't know whether I subscribe to that completely, but they sure don't change that much when they're 78 years old. And so I'm afraid that we are going to deal with this. And part of my argument, and again, this is my position, Will does not take a position on presidential candidates, is that, Trump may hurt conservatives more by winning than he would by losing, because I think that's exactly what we're going to get. And I just don't think the country wants that on a long-term or even medium-term basis.
I couldn't say any better than that. Rick Esselberg, always appreciate your time and your wisdom. We'll talk down the road.
Take care.
Absolutely. Rick Esselberg, all the way from Florida. How about that? So we'll take a break here, probably a little bit longer break than usual because I skipped a break there. If you have comments on what Rick Esselberg just said or what I posed earlier in our conversation and our playing of the Scott McFarland piece of audio, weigh in now, 855-616-1620, the WTMJ Talk and Text line.
WTMJ Now.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Buthan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Results may vary.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
If you did not have your holiday company party in December, have it in January at the amazing Mineshaft restaurant in Hartford in their free party rooms. The food is super affordable and the huge game room adds so much fun. Reserve your date today. Mineshaftrestaurant.com.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credit, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is with complete confidence stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
WTMJ Now.
As I do every day, my show poll is up on the X, formerly known as Twitter. If you're not on the X or Twitter, you can find it. You can vote, rather, on the WTMJ talk and text line, 855-616-1620. A very focused question today. We were talking about some of the legal challenges for Donald Trump. That's one of my possible answers, actually, to the show poll today. With just 2 candidates remaining in the race for the Republican nomination for president, Nikki Haley faces long odds to beat out former President Donald Trump. Not impossible, but starting to look that way. Given that, in your opinion, which is what I'm interested in here, what could potentially derail Trump's candidacy? First one, legal issues, 62%. Age or health concerns, right now 17%. We already have 229 votes, so nice job, you. Say the wrong thing. Interesting from a president who basically speaks off the cuff constantly and doesn't care about who he offends. Say the wrong thing is getting about 8% of the support, and other is always available. And I can tell you, got a lot of robust comments. Maybe tomorrow says, I pray every day for him to get the punishment we'd all get if we were in his shoes. Some really dark ones that I'm not going to read. Time for a third-party candidate, Libertarian, to be elected. I just had the former chair of the Libertarian Party, Nicholas Sarwark, on the show yesterday. It's available on our podcast page, by the way. Brian with a beard says, nothing will derail it. He's going to win the nomination because the people who support him won't even care if he is convicted of everything he's charged with. They've come this far. They ain't leaving now. I've said this before on this topic. It's really, really hard for people to admit they're wrong. Nobody wants to admit they're wrong, right? It's a hard thing to do, to accept. I made a mistake. But the problem with at least the political equation now is when you see unhinged behavior, whatever you think about Joe Biden, whether he's senile or ineffective at the border or, pick a topic, that's one thing. When you see a candidate for president of the United States, and he is a candidate, he's not the president, not an incumbent, using racist terminology, using really offensive attacks to make a political point, including style of clothing or dress or race, that's a different animal. That's a different thing, and that's the challenge of what we're talking about here. Now, you can sit there and say, it doesn't bother me. That's just him being him. But as I've said before, the conduct, in my opinion, of a president matters, and that's the challenge. All right, got a very wide open 10 o'clock hour coming up. Great economic news, but as I said on my show notes, let the spin begin. Why are some people never happy about good news and they cheerlead for bad news? We'll talk a little bit about the governor's state of the state, not a lot. And the move to cashless, a cashless society. I'm a fan, but there's a lot of people who don't like it at all. I'm going to dig into that one in the second half of the 10 o'clock hour. We're just getting warmed up on this Thursday. Join us on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Creative Planning presents Rethink Your Money with John Hagenson, Saturday afternoon at 1. Creative Planning is a wealth management firm that believes in a total approach to building wealth that includes taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other personalized elements. This approach allows you to receive advice that is aligned with your unique goals and always in your best interests. Why not give your wealth a second look? Visit creativeplanning.com.
Hey, Wisconsin, Greg Matzik here for Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac, where the New Year's sale is on. Hey, is there a new Chevrolet, Buick, or GMC in your future? Connect with Holiday for enticing offers, more selection, get more for your trade, and take to the roads this winter and beyond with confidence. Hey, another great option? Check out a GM-certified pre-owned model. Enjoy peace-of-mind benefits like 2 factory-backed warranties, scheduled maintenance, courtesy transportation, and roadside assistance, all included. Driving a GM-certified vehicle from Holiday is a no-brainer. And I know you'll appreciate the relaxed and welcoming attitude, transparent, simplified buying approach, and Team Holiday's genuine guest care. It is the stuff that delights and makes fans of drivers from all over. Fans like me and thousands of others. You'll be in good hands with Wisconsin's #1 GMC dealer and Buick Dealer of the Year on your side. Find yours and discover the difference at Holiday Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC, Highway 41 and 23 in Fond du Lac, and at holidaygm.com. It's worth the trip.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Their video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Home is where the heart is. Family meals, laughter, and warm memories. As your local contractor that's been around for 40 years, J&J Contractors has been helping families create new memories for generations to come by reimagining your kitchen space for baking holiday cookies with the family or opening up your lower level for friend and neighbor entertainment. Whatever the project is, J&J Contractors does it with top-of-the-line craftsmanship. Just Google J&J Contractors to see their reviews for impeccable work and outstanding communication.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Transform your bathroom like we did. It's Sidex, S-I-D-E-X, Sidex. Take out that conventional bathtub, put in a walk-in shower. That's what we did at our house. It's beautiful. It's open. It's transformed our bathroom. And right now with Sidex, you get $750 off any bathtub or shower replacement. They serve within 60 miles of Milwaukee. It's Sidex. They did the work at our house. It was quick. It was affordable. It was efficient. And our bathroom is beautiful. Go with the company we trust, Sidex. Free shower door upgrade when you mention WTMJ or John Mercure.
At my company, we're always looking for people who are passionate and ready to work. But it's not always easy. It's time to broaden our horizons. In Wisconsin, about 600,000 people with disabilities are ready and able to work. People that just need you to believe in them and say yes.
And once you say yes, Thinkability Wisconsin will be there, providing transition and workforce support to help shape a better future for all. It all starts when you say yes. Join the movement at thinkabilitywi.org.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Absolute Comfort HVAC. Worst time to start asking, hey, do you know an HVAC guy? It's when your furnace already quit on you. I've got your guy, Absolute Comfort HVAC. Brent and his team offer a full furnace tune-up for just $89, or do what I did. Bundle that with the spring AC tune-up, $150 plus tax. That includes discounts on parts and equipment and no fees for emergency repairs. Absolute Comfort HVAC, they're your HVAC guy. AbsoluteComfortWI.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 10:01, a high of 40 degrees today, foggy, cloudy, with rain coming later on. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Eric Bilstead. President Biden will be in Superior, Wisconsin later today.
His first visit to Wisconsin in 2024. White House Assistant Press Secretary Olivia Dalton tells WTMJ.
We know that it's not just the economic agenda that the president has put into place that is at stake right now.
Both the president and vice president visiting the Badger State this week. Dalton says they're bringing this message for Wisconsinites.
An economy that works for working people and positions the United States to outcompete the world in the years ahead, and standing up for some of our most basic and essential and fundamental freedoms.
Wyatt Barmar-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Republicans who control the state assembly are poised to pass a bill that would call for a binding statewide referendum to ban abortion after 14 weeks of pregnancy. No word on whether or not it'll make its way through the Senate. The Senate unsure if it's worth voting on the measure. Meanwhile, Governor Evers says he will veto a redistricting proposal that was passed by the Assembly Wednesday.
There are 63 ayes and 35 noes.
The body passing a proposal based on Evers' original draft, but with amendments that would reduce the number of Republican incumbents who would face one another in November. Assembly Speaker Robin Voss.
We're going to actually legislate today and send a bill to the governor and hopefully have him sign it so that we can move beyond this.
But Governor Evers reiterated Wednesday the only maps he would sign were those in his unaltered proposal.
No, I won't sign it. The only one that I'll sign is my maps, and those are not my maps.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
In Michigan.
Jennifer Crumbley didn't pull the trigger that day, but she is responsible for those deaths.
Opening statements underway for the manslaughter trial of Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of a teenager who shot and killed 4 high school students in Oxford. Oakland County Prosecutor Mark Keast wants to convince the jury that Crumbley's negligence in part ultimately led to that deadly shooting. In Florida, a new push to make it more difficult for children to log on to social media. They're working on the strictest crackdown in the country.
Lawmakers in Florida approving what could be the most strict regulation on social media in the country. The House passing a bill that would prohibit anyone under the age of 16 from signing up for most social media platforms, even if they have their parents' approval. The bill targeting any social media site that tracks user activity, allows children to upload content, or uses addictive features designed to cause compulsive use.
News about your money. Stocks looking good this morning after a new data point was released today, showing the U.S. economy grew at a strong pace last quarter, surprising experts and settling concerns of a possible financial slowdown. ABC's Whit Johnson.
The report shows that GDP growth was significantly stronger than many experts had anticipated. According to the Commerce Department, the U.S. economy grew at an annualized rate of 3.3% in the fourth quarter, much higher than the expected increase of 2%. That would indicate a slowdown from the previous quarter's growth of 4.9%, but still strong enough to support job growth and critically avoid a recession.
How is Wall Street reacting? Now for the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Right now the Dow is up 47 to 37,853. The Nasdaq is up 82 to 15,564, and the S&P is up 18 to 48,87. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 10:04.
This report is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk. And now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes. And I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
The next time they ask you what size tires you need, just go to richlawns.com.
That's Richlawns spelled with 2 N's.
No more trying to read that tiny writing on the side of your old tires or on the inside of your car door.
Just go to richlawns.com, click on the year button, then the make and model of your vehicle, and
the exact tire size you need.
In a multitude of brands and styles.
Yet all specific to your vehicle, because at Richlawns, there isn't a tire on the planet we can't get.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair, which means you're 100% covered, no questions asked.
The next time you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com.
Because free flat tire repair automatically comes with every tire we install.
I'm Brett Matchke with Richlawns. You're due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlawns Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlawns.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, we have some popping this morning. The city of Milwaukee, after decades of fighting over the future of Northridge Mall, has now gained court approval to take ownership of the property. The Milwaukee Business Journal breaking that story this morning. This is a key step in the plan to begin tearing down Northridge Mall. It could happen at some point this year. Again, the city of Milwaukee now able to take ownership of the property and then begin the tear down process. Time now for sports and WTMJ Sports Update.
Beyond 35 points, 18 boards, and 10 assists from Giannis. The Bucks, a day after firing head coach Adrian Griffin, beat the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night. This one by a final of 126-116.
Giannis with a big swooping jam as he sends it down. Look out below. The Greek Freak taking that one out on the rim.
The Bucks with the win, securing their third in a row, and will next host Cleveland again tomorrow night. Over to college hoops, where the number 14th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles won their third game in a row on Wednesday night, beating DePaul on the road 86-73.
Got Mitchell, 3 in the corner. Wow. Sweet Stevie Mitchell.
And lastly, as the Packers search for their next defensive coordinator, the Michigan Wolverines will be on the search for their next head coach, as Jim Harbaugh has reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal to become the next LA Chargers head coach on Wednesday night. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
WTMJ, Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. For the most part, looking pretty good on the roadways. 94 eastbound, Highway 16 all the way into downtown. That's clear. 4145 southbound, Highway Q to the zoo. That is also on time. 43 southbound, Brown Deer Road into downtown through the road work being done there. You're not looking at much delay either. And finally, 94 northbound is delay-free from Layton into downtown. That's a 7-minute trip. The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Foggy, cloudy, rain is possible later on. A high of 40 today. Might see some precip, a high of 40. Tonight, foggy again, rain likely, a low of 36. For Friday, still foggy, still rainy, a high of 41. Saturday, a high of 41. Sunday, a high of 39. Monday, cloudy and a high of 38 degrees. I'm Eric Bilstead, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thursday edition of the WTMJ Now program. I am Steve, as Big Voice Guy just said. Raise your hand out there in Radio Land. Do you cheer for bad economic news because it makes it more likely that your candidate, your party will win? If you raise your hand, what's wrong with you? So I've told this story a few times on the show, reported this a few times. The economic numbers are starting to look pretty good. I'm not making this political. You can make it that if you want to, and you can join the conversation, 855-616-1019. 1,620. Higher wages. They're actually on the increase. Inflation has tumbled from a peak of around 9% in summer 2022 to 3.4% currently. The Fed's target is 2%, by the way, which is kind of what it's been over the last 6 months. Paychecks, as I said, outpacing inflation. We are learning to adapt to higher prices, and sometimes we get good news, like gas prices. That would be in the good news category. Drove by my local gas station today. It was $2.49. I think most people look at that and say, not bad. I don't give credit to Joe Biden. I don't give credit to Donald Trump. It's just what it is. A lot of other factors at play there. The big one, wage growth pulling ahead of inflation last year, and that trend has continued. So why does that matter? Why does that matter to the bigger picture? Because I think we have a responsibility to tell the truth. Now, every time I bring this up, people go, well, yeah, most people aren't in the stock market. They don't care about what the market's doing, which is, by the way, setting record close numbers every day, just about. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow. And perception matters here. Why do I say that? Because when people perceive that inflation is bad or increasing, when it's not, it sometimes accelerates their spending, their consumption, which actually can be a contributing factor in inflation. Now, I don't care if you're an investor who likes to live in the world of the negative and wants to short stocks and all that stuff because you think the price of a stock's going to go down. You be you. You do what you have to do. But we are not going to engage, at least on this program, a false narrative that the economy is spiraling out of control, which is obviously that is a political story because it's not. Now, the one area that people point to is food, right? Now, it is fair to say that food costs more. One of the things that people point to is chicken prices. There's a lot to that story. Avian flu, destructions of thousands and thousands, millions and millions of chickens and other animals because of that virus. Bread, milk, those are more expensive. But there's examples like eggs where they're cheaper. Why do some people cheer for bad news? Now, I would argue, and I made this point on social media either yesterday or this morning, some people are just angry all the time. Just always angry. I don't know what the number is. I couldn't pigeonhole a number on that, but I don't know, 10%, 20%, always mad about something. Grouchy old man. I'm encouraged by the economic news. Gas prices stable. Wages going up. Low unemployment. There's challenges, of course. We talked to a local leader in the 9 o'clock hour from Fond du Lac County. Workforce. But where there's adversity, opportunity exists, and I think that's one of the things that we in the media have to do a better job of. Andrew wants to start the conversation in Waukesha. Hey, Andrew, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So I'm going to try real hard not to sound angry so as not to be dismissed.
Okay.
But essentially what you're saying, right, is carpe diem. Seize the day, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. I tell you what, Steve, it's not that people revel in bad news. It's that you can look at very simple data like the national debt and see this is unsustainable. It's going to ruin our country. So what are we going to do about it? Well, let's spend billions of dollars more for Ukraine. Let's spend billions of dollars more for green energy. It's like, no, you don't get it. We're paying $1 trillion in interest. It's unsustainable. Don't be such a whiner. This is not about whether the wage growth is going up a little bit more or whether the employment numbers look good. Our entire economic system. And all you have to do is ask some young person, hey, do you think you're going to be able to buy a house and afford a mortgage in a year or two? It doesn't work. And cheerleading for a system that doesn't work hurts people, Steve.
All right, let me respond to the national debt deficit question, because I'm actually on your side on this. This is the one area that I completely agree with Senator Ron Johnson. We've screwed around with this for too long. And it is unsustainable. But I can also say that and at the same time say there are some good numbers. Now, for every good number, there's somebody that's going to say there's a bad number. I understand that. But it does us no good to ignore the good numbers and focus on the negative. And this isn't a fairy tale world we live in. Perception matters. And in this country, perception can actually make things worse. It causes people to buy things, accelerate their spending, which actually contributes to inflation. That's why these things matter. So I agree with you completely on the deficit. It's insane. And I would point to, not to make this political, Andrew, thanks for the call, that we have people in Congress who are not serious about their job. Why do I say that? Because Republican or Democrats, they don't change their behavior. They spend. I have sat in this chair for years and advocated for a dollar-by-dollar critical analysis of how the government spends their money. Every line item. Do we need to spend that money? Are we spending it efficiently? Is it necessary? And it's dismissed. And the ugly part about this, if you want to make it political, and you weren't, and I'll give you credit for that, the former president added more debt than any other president. What am I missing there? The point is perception is important. I gave that one example. If people accelerate their consumption because they're fearful about what's coming next, it actually makes inflation, it can make inflation worse. And I'm trying to tell people, maybe I'm not doing a good job. You can tell me, 855-616-1620, that our perception about all of these things is really important. And I guess my underlying message is don't let a politician who goes to Washington, D.C. and doesn't do their job dictate what you think about the economy, border policy. Matter of fact, let me take a side trip for 1 second and demonstrate the inaction that we see in Congress. What do I hear from Republicans? There's a border issue, right? Problem at the border. We should fix the president and Congress should fix that. But what's happening in Congress as we speak? Lindsey Graham, Ron Johnson, other leaders are saying basically, you know what? We're not going to fix it now because that would be a win for Biden. We're going to wait for President Trump to take over. We have a candidate for president dictating the actions of a Congress who is seated and is supposed to fix our issues and address our problems. In what world does that make sense? I appreciate your passion, Andrew, and on the deficit issue, I'm in complete agreement. That is one area where I agree with Ron Johnson. It is an absolute disaster. It's a disaster waiting to happen. But that doesn't mean that our economy is not strong. Matter of fact, it's stronger when other countries in this world wish they had our economy. That's the reality. What do you think? 855-616-1620. More after this.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
This is WTMJ's Sandy Max with a brand new show called What's on Tap. Weeknights at 6, you're invited to join me to take a deeper dive into culture and creativity here in Wisconsin and around the world. Tap into all kinds of entertainment and recreation with me, from music, theater, film, food, and uniquely Wisconsin traditions and landmarks. So pique your curiosity and join me for What's on Tap. And be sure to catch the podcast on your favorite podcast platform.
At Kessler's Diamonds, we know you're too busy to go shopping from store to store, too busy to listen to a bunch of sales pitches, too busy to negotiate. This is Monica Kessler. I'm going to tell you another reason why I like working at Kessler's. Are you ready? At Kessler's, we don't negotiate. We think it's unfriendly and dishonest. So we've never done it. Would you ask your friend to pay a higher price than what you were truly willing to accept? Kessler's is a 100% employee-owned company, and the owners insist that everyone gets the lowest price. Don't believe me? Put it to the test. Go to any of our Kessler's locations and ask to buy something for $1 less than the price on the tag. One of our owners is going to offer to find you something else at that $1 lower price, but the item you want costs $1 more, period. Kessler's is the face of friendship and fairness and integrity. You never have to negotiate at Kessler's, and that's comforting, especially when you're in a hurry.
Hey, there's free pizza today at the Amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford. Seriously, it's free. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Every Thursday when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. No coupons, no gimmicks. It's the best Thursday dining value anywhere, and it's delicious. Buy 2 pizzas, get 2 free. Buy 10, get 10 free. Any size, any quantity. Coaches, bring in your basketball, hockey, wrestling, gymnastics teams. Your players can beef up on the Mine Chef's great pizza. Your players will also love that world-class game room. It's great for team bonding. It's big food. It's big fun. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees and valued clients. They'll appreciate you, and your second pizza is free. So don't cook and clean today. Take your family to the Mine Shaft. Buy one pizza, get one free. Plenty to take home for tomorrow. The Mine Shaft right there in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh off the interstate. Order now and pick up your free hot pizza shortly. I love the pepperoni. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
WTMJ Now.
Talking about the economic situation in the United States, which is really what I think we should focus on. There's some dire consequences in the rest of the planet. It's all important, obviously, how we all work together. But when you have struggles with our relationship with China and Russia, we have to think about this country. I'm not going to say America first because that's been prostituted by politics, but the concept is valid. Now, Andrew made a great point. And first of all, I love Andrew for the passion that he called with. And I appreciate that. And to call a radio show is not easy, and I appreciate him taking the time to do it. And like I said, I agree with him on a national deficit completely. But I can think 2 things at the same time. He made a comment about home ownership. And I saw a great piece. I wish I could remember where I read it over the weekend. Young people saying, I can't afford a home anymore. I don't know what to do. And the point the piece was making was, in earlier eras, people bought what they could afford. People built what they could afford. Average home size, sometimes less than 1,500 square feet. One of the fundamental problems we have is people expect the big house right away. People want to build a beautiful, brand new, 3,000 square foot home for 2 people living in it. Not saying you can't do that. The problem is it's not realistic. Especially unrealistic when mortgage rates are, 6-7% or higher. Now they're coming back down, which is a good thing. Perhaps what we should be thinking about as local leaders, people who work in the home building industry, working together, building neighborhoods where the size of homes is not unrealistic for budgets that are strained by inflation or in the future by our exploding deficit. Or maybe you buy a smaller, older home I lived in a house that was 100 years old once. That's the reality that I think is missing most people. Do we all like shiny new stuff? Absolutely. My house was built in 1966. I've added on to it twice. I've modernized it. That's my experience. It started off at like 1,750 square feet. It's not that anymore. So having a realistic idea about this. From the text line, you're right. They should all sit down and do something about the border, but why can't we enforce existing laws? Many of us don't think that's happening. Democrats and Republicans, what am I missing? They refuse to do the work of the job. They're saying it out loud, and we accept it. That's the problem. From the text line, I refuse to cheer for bad news to advance my preferences in leadership. It's about time economic things rally, and the country needs that shot in the arm, although I give zero credit to the so-called Bidenomics. I'm not giving credit to Joe Biden at all. I give credit to the people who have a positive attitude about the economy and understand that in many ways, our consumption, our belief that we are moving in the right direction actually can make things better for all of us. I gave you that specific example. Buying something because you fear where prices are going actually speeds up inflation. Scott joins us from South Milwaukee. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Yeah. Just on your general topic here. Again, I think it's bad business for politicians to be rooting for a negative economy for political gain, and I also think that's bad business for politicians to not be solving or working to solve the current problems and challenges, whatever that face us, with the expectation that a new president is going to be reelected. On the topic of homes, all right, a friend of mine is a builder, all right, whatever, and I asked him this very question, whatever. Why do builders, all right, why do you not see anywhere in the area, whatever, new developments for subdivisions for homes that are 1,000 to 2,000 square feet? All right, whatever. His response back to me was that there's no money to be made from a builder standpoint. There's no money to be made unless the square footage of the average home in that development is over 3,000 square feet. All right, so like back in the day, whatever, when your parents and my parents, when they were buying homes, they were going into subdivisions, whatever, where the average house was, like I said, was in that 1,000 to 1,500 square foot range.
Mm-hmm.
If you try and find in this area in southeastern Wisconsin, if you try and look for a new subdivision development, whatever, for, like I said, starter homes, people, like I said, that 1,000 to 2,000 square foot range, you're not going to find it because builders won't build them because there's no money for the builder there's no money to be made for the builder.
Yeah, let me. Thanks for the call, Scott. Let me address that a little bit. I'm not a builder. I've been involved in a lot of construction projects over the years, public and private. I kind of understand a little bit. I served as my own general contractor for one of my projects. Look, there's opportunity here. Is it challenging? Absolutely. So we just give up because it's a challenge? I'll actually give a shout out to there's a small neighborhood in Oak Creek. South Hall, almost to the border of Oak Creek and Racine, east side of the street, very small homes. They're cookie cutter homes. I think they were designed for veterans or people that were in that category. They made that work. You have to want to do it. Are they going to be as fancy as a, $500,000, 3,000 square foot home? No. But maybe not everybody wants that. Maybe some people want a basic starter home that's affordable. Cities can actually help make this happen. States can make it happen. Legislatures can make it happen by making it affordable again, working with the construction industry, working with home builders and local leaders to change the dynamic. The dynamic is everybody wants a big fancy house. That has to change. Texter says, makes my point. The future is tiny homes. I was watching the Magnolia Network the other night, and they were building a tiny home. Cost $60,000. More of those kinds of ideas. And here's the other thing, and this is again the perception. There's this perception by existing homeowners, existing neighborhoods, that somehow these drive down your property values. Property values are exploding. Texture points out, and Tracy Johnson made this point yesterday. Regulations and zoning, that needs to change. They're getting in the way of what I'm talking about. Stop forcing builders to build these mega homes. You want to get our economy in trouble? Have a ton of mega homes that people can't afford anymore. You will certainly break our backs when it comes to this great country we live in. Another quick break here.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Hey, John Mercure here. Join me every Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin. We'll check in with communities across the state for the best and brightest spots in Wisconsin. This week, pretty exciting show. We are joined by the good folks from Hayward Lakes.
Winter has thrown us a bit of a curveball this year. However, there's still a ton of options to get outside and enjoy all the recreation in the Hayward Lakes area.
And hey, how about heading south when you head for a vacation in Wisconsin? We'll check in to Lake Geneva. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon right here on 620 WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for the Bath Authority. Yes, if your bath or shower is old, outdated, maybe has mold or mildew or broken tiles, you got to call my friends at the Bath Authority. The Bath Authority provides the highest quality bathroom remodeling products along with a world-class, best-in-class customer experience. Here's how you can do it. Elevate your bathroom to a new level of luxury, style, and safety. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. Get $1,000 off your new shower or bath. Plus, in the era of high interest rates, they can give you 36 months of interest-free financing. That's why. Go to thebathauthority.com today. Click on it. Bathauthority.com. A better bath awaits.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin's energy-efficient windows keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
It's WTMJ Now.
I promised I would talk about the governor's state address. I was going to play some audio, but I'm just going to cut through all the noise. Look, and I hope to have the governor on the show next week. I was talking to one of his staff yesterday, and it looks like that's going to happen next week. And I'll let you know when that is, and we'll have these conversations. I will say this. It's always an important speech for a governor to kind of lay out his plan. You're the worker. Okay, whatever that means, and we talked a little bit about that yesterday, fine. I'm all for higher wages. Let's build things together. Let's be open for business. I know that's a phrase that the governor doesn't like, this current governor doesn't like because the former governor loved it. Although that's, I would think, a goal that we should all share, regardless of politics. But my frustration with the governor and the legislature has been, it's been consistent for years. Talking about getting things done has replaced getting things done. Now, it's not absolute. I credit both the governor and the legislature for getting the shared revenue package done, the Brewers bill done, and some other important pieces of legislation. So it's not a washout. But there's a lot of phony stuff happening both in Madison and Washington where the ruling party, in this case it's Republicans in Wisconsin legislature, are passing bills they know have no chance to be signed by the governor. And I would argue that that's feel-good legislation, but it's not real legislation. You can pacify your voters, some, because as I often remind them, you represent everybody who is in your district, not just the ones who voted for you. That's a fundamental issue that far too many politicians have a problem with. Why do I say that? Just read their social media. You'll indicate who they actually pay attention to. Beyond all that, it's important that the governor lays out his strategy, but it's also important for the legislature to understand this is a team here. You don't have to like each other. Hell, you don't. In the modern era, you don't have to talk to each other. You can do this through your staffs and your support staff and your teams. But ultimately, fixing problems is the most important part of all of this. But I will ask the governor when he joins me, hopefully next week, about all the specifics in his plan. And first and foremost, one of my lead questions, I can tell you what it is right now. Are we ever going to see our surplus in the hands of the people who paid into the surplus? It is inexcusable that all this time has passed and we are still sitting here today with, $4 billion now in surplus because they've spent some of it? Wondering, any tax relief coming? Are we going to help out retirees? That was in the Republicans' plan. What does the governor think about that? How do you define the middle class? Is it 38 to 150? That's my definition. What is it? Middle class, governor. And for the love of whoever, can we stop awarding tax surpluses to people that don't pay taxes? That makes no sense. Doesn't mean you don't help people that need help. That's not how you should do it. And that's my biggest frustration with some of these ideas about taxation. If you pay the taxes, you get the benefit. If you don't, maybe you should think about earning more and actually paying in the system and being part of the solution, not just the problem. Tough love, maybe. Don't care. Break.
WTMJ Now.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try soon. Harry's is available online and in-store at a retailer near you. Get a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/quality. That's harrys.com/quality. Or check us out at your local Costco for a price you can't find anywhere else. Just look for the Chrome Razor with 13 blade refills at your local Costco. You can't miss it. Exclusive to Costco members.
Vince Vitrano here for Expedia Cruises in Brookfield, inviting your family to ring in the new year at sea. Join my family for a 7-night cruise on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas. We leave Orlando January 29th, stop in Mexico, Honduras, and Royal Caribbean's private island. Let's celebrate New Year's 2025 together. Come as a couple with the kids or grandma and grandpa. How about bringing everyone on the trip of a lifetime? Let me send you more information on that trip with Expedia Cruises in Brookfield. Email me, vince@WTMJ.com.
Is it time to give your home a new look?
Absolutely.
Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling has a design team ready to help with all flooring and remodeling needs, including tub to shower conversions. Want to create your dream kitchen, including cabinets? How about the rec room? Adair Floors and Remodeling has been family run in Franklin for over 65 years. For floors and all home remodeling needs, get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin, and online at adairfloors.com.
WTMJ Now.
Thanks for taking the time to find us in your busy radio day, busy day in general. Over the air, online, podcasts. Guys are hitting my podcast page. I'm keep adding more content every day. We're going to be rolling out some new stuff we'll tell you about in the near future. And, of course, Decision Wisconsin is up now, and I do 2 new ones every week. And the latest one with Ben Wickler, chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, is now up at WTMJ.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Interesting insight. And I was just talking about the governor's state of the state. Ben and I talked about that as well. And I had him define for me what the governor meant by Year of the Worker, and he does that in the podcast. So if you're curious, Decision Wisconsin, latest edition with Ben Wickler. I'm not sure how I feel about this next one. So I'm going to this is more of an open-ended. Generally, I have a pretty strong take on things. So the headline, and again, I often refer to this site because I absolutely love this. This is one of those fun sites. If you're someone that just likes to look at different things on the internet, studyfinds.org. I get a lot of great ideas from it. It's a lot of great research, survey information, just good data. And this one caught my eye. And I don't know exactly how I feel about this because I will say that I'm a big fan of cashless. I can go weeks without having any money, real cold hard cash in my wallet. Now, right now, I've got about $25. I'm not sure why I have $25. I'm a big fan of the cashless system. If I go to a game at Lambeau Field, it's all cashless. If I go to a restaurant here at 3rd Street, I'm pretty sure it's all cashless. I could be wrong. There might be one restaurant that takes cash, but pretty sure it's all cashless. And one of the things that when I was reading this piece of Study Finds, the headline, if you want to look it up, is "No Cash Accepted Signs Are Bad News for Millions of Americans." And that's what prompted my interest because I kind of like it. 855-616-1620 is the WTMJ talk and text line. So basically the argument that's being made against cashless is there's about 6 million Americans who don't have bank accounts. And I was actually surprised by that number. Roughly 6 million people in the United States, which is about the population of Wisconsin, by the way. Aren't we 6.5 million, something like that? Don't have a bank account. Reasons go from they don't have enough monthly income to have a bank account. I know that a lot of banks, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like $50 minimum you have to maintain. And a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. Generally, for people that make more than $15,000 in a year, which is not a lot of money, they have bank accounts. People generally that make less don't. Now, when people are skeptical about some of the numbers or the cashless society, there are some people who basically avoid banks. I wasn't even really aware of this because they think it invades their privacy or that they don't trust banks. You know, we've all heard the stories of people stuffing money in their mattresses, which is great until you pass away, and then either it goes to a landfill or somebody makes a really great discovery when they're stripping your house after you're passed. A couple other reasons. A quarter of the respondents felt bank account fees were too high, fees unpredictable. Now, I know there's slight charge for some accounts, which can range from like $5 to $15. If you maintain a higher balance, I think they're free. But if you don't have a bank account, you basically don't have access to ATMs or any of the things that I think a lot of us take for granted now. So there's a couple ways I want to take this. One, just generally the cashless system. I'm a big fan of it. As I said, I can go weeks without having any actual cash in my wallet. And I can't remember the last time that was a problem for anybody. Because even if someone says, well, we only take cash, which I guess can happen, there's almost always like an ATM or something else I could do to, hey, or if I'm with somebody, hey, can you pay and I'll catch up with you. And I'm an honest person, so that usually works. 855-616-1620. I don't think we're ever going to go cashless as a society, but I think the day is coming where most of our transactions, almost all of our transactions, will be cashless. I'm just curious where you fall on that spectrum. And like I said, I have not gotten in trouble because of not having cash probably as long as I can remember. And you know, the cashless thing is 5-10 years basically. It's transformed. You know, when you're talking about a stadium of the size of Lambeau Field and it's essentially cashless, it's a pretty remarkable thing. One of the other challenges is, again, this speaks to the border policy. People come into this country illegal, undocumented. They don't have access to banks. Well, when you fix the border policy, you might have that problem. 855-616-1620, the WTMJ talk and text line. What do you think? Are you fearful of the cashless? I'm not. And do you have a fear of banks? If so, why? I don't get it. I just don't get it. What do you have to say after this?
More of WTMJ now after this.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk. And now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons.
Now, this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes. And I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
As an independent tire and service center, our loyalty is to you, not the manufacturer.
It's the tire manufacturer's goal to design a superior tire.
But it's our job to ensure the right tires are properly installed on your vehicle.
A service our family has been independently providing for the past 2 generations. So make no mistake about it, our loyalty is to you.
And the dozens of tire brands we carry, like Goodyear, General, and Pirelli,
or Continental, Kelly, and Dunlop, well, that's for you too.
Because we won't know what type of tire you need until you get here.
So instead, we carry them all.
Because we install them all.
And every tire we install automatically comes with free flat tire repair.
Which means you're 100% covered.
No questions asked.
I guess you could call it family tradition.
Be safe, buckle up, and hey.
Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns, your
due for service.
Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Celebrate a birthday, anniversary, or retirement this week with a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. Buy one dinner, get one free, 7 nights a week. Google Fox and Hounds restaurant and enjoy your free dinner.
This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. The Energy Star ratings for windows are getting a lot tougher to get the tax credits, so you're going to want to take advantage of. Fortunately, we still have options that will qualify you for those tax credits. Now, I can sit here and talk benefits of this product or what's great about that product. So can everybody else. But what a lot of operations can't do is, with complete confidence, stand behind the crew that's going to be on that next job. Talk is cheap, I get it, but our people are exceptional. How do I know? Because me and Vito handpick every single person that makes our team. Some make the cut, a lot don't. And that's why you can be confident that the windows we install for you will be top quality, installed right, and that you're going to get great service. And that's never failed us. So for your home's new windows, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
It's WTMJ Now.
Forgot to mention my grandson Cooper's 5th birthday today, so happy birthday, Coop. 5 years old. Where does the time go? All right, we're talking about sort of the shift to cashless. It's accelerating, if you haven't noticed. I told my story. So I often have no cash. And it hasn't really bothered me or hurt me. Don wants to weigh in from the beautiful city of Green Bay. Hey, Don.
How's it going, Steve? Great show as usual.
Thank you.
Yeah, it scares me to death.
Okay,
You know
why? Why?
You can't hide your golf money from the wife.
Oh, hiding.
She had a clue. You know, you got receipts and stuff. It shows up on your statement.
Right.
This
So
is free.
When you say golf money, is that more encompassing than just golf, I'm guessing?
Yeah, there might be a few other extraneous activities, but
Right.
nothing too bad. I'm not hanging out in a blue room or anything. But
No.
you know, there's things that you might want to spend, and you know, you just can't.
Do you think we're ever going to get to, like, where there's just many places that just don't accept cash at all? I don't think we're going to get there.
Yeah, I could. You know, though, I don't know if we will or won't, but I can tell you this. I work in the refreshments industry,
Mm-hmm.
and we have the vending machines, for example. There's plenty of places that are like, just turn off the cash. Just make it all debit, credit, Apple Pay, you know, all that good stuff. And that has become, I mean, in the last 3-5 years, that has really just taken off. Every vending machine that you see that's of any quality company takes credit and Apple Pay and all that stuff. So, and we see it in our sales. We're seeing, 75-80% are just cashless.
Yeah, so it is. Thanks for the call, Don. And you can still hide your golf money, I'm sure, for a while anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's trending in that direction. That's why I brought it up. I hadn't really paid attention to the no bank account issue, which is real and something we should definitely pay attention to. As long as there's an alternative for those folks, though. I mean, for businesses, I would think it's probably easier, right? Now, I will also tell you and warn you, if you haven't noticed this, that a lot of places now, restaurants included, they just tack on whatever fees they pay for people using credit cards on your bill. And if you're not paying attention, you will sometimes miss that. Sue calling from. Hey, Sue. Welcome, Sue. You're on the show.
Hello.
Yeah, Sue. Welcome. Good morning.
Hi there.
How are you?
I was calling about the cashless situation.
Mm-hmm.
And years ago, when debit cards came out, I thought they were fantastic. I thought, this is awesome. I don't have to carry my wallet. I don't have to carry cash. My kids are all old enough. They have jobs. They have their own cash. And if I need cash, I'm in town. I can go to the bank, get some cash. It's all cool. Well, 15 or so years later, I'm ready to go back to cash and cards and verifying my identification and stuff, because I've been hit with a lot of small people trying to get into my bank account.
Fraudulent charges, yeah. That is a problem.
Yep. But what took the cake for me, and I laughed when I heard you talking about the subject, is I went to my bank on Saturday because I was having some problems with my account, and she pulled it up, and someone had charged $2,000 worth of stuff from Home Depot online to be delivered to their home on my bank account card. So fortunately, they were able to stop the transaction and stuff.
Well, that's good. So for you, it's not a question of you like the convenience, but it's just not worth the risk or the trouble.
Well, it's getting to that point. I mean, I have handled cash all my life. My dad had a business, and I used to do bank deposits for him, and I taught my kids about money and responsibility and things. But I worry about them too.
Yep.
Who's going to get in? They all have a lot more money than me.
I'll put you in the no camp, Sue. Thanks for the call. We'll get John in real quick before we get to break again. John from Burlington joins us. Hey, John, welcome to the show. Happy Thursday.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Good.
You brought it up a little bit about I try to pay cash as much as I can and everything. Couple reasons. One is when you're starting to see any place from 3 to 8% tacked onto a credit card, and the merchant is going, it's not our fault. It's being charged by the credit card company. The other thing is when I'm tipping, I remember the old days of splitting up the jar of tips among the employees. That's going on the credit card. You're hoping like heck the employer's getting that to the, they're getting it to the workers and stuff. So I stay away from it. So put me for a no.
All right. John from Burlington weighing in on the no side. What do you think? 855-616-1620. We got a little bit of time left. That's an interesting one because I can tell you my wife always has cash, and we have on occasion paid the tip in cash. And if anyone works in the service industry in restaurants or bars, I'd be curious to know how that sharing of tips works, and is it being shared? Because that's fascinating to me. As somebody who used to be, I was a bartender for like 15 years, part-time job while I was doing other things, and we didn't share tips. What you got, you got. And I can't even remember an occasion where we did share tips. It might have been for like a big event or something because I worked at some sports bars. Jump in, 855-616-1620. Room on the old call list here. Love to hear what you have to say on the WTMJ Now program.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Hey, John Mercure here. Join me every Saturday at noon for Experience Wisconsin. We'll check in with communities across the state for the best and brightest spots in Wisconsin. This week, pretty exciting show. We are joined by the good folks from Hayward Lakes.
Winter has thrown us a bit of a curveball this year. However, there's still a ton of options to get outside and enjoy all the recreation in the Hayward Lakes area.
And hey, how about heading south when you head for a vacation in Wisconsin? We'll check in to Lake Geneva. It's Experience Wisconsin, Saturday at noon right here on 620 WTMJ.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase, no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Fleet Farm's got everything you need for everyday life. Brands from Carhartt to Milwaukee to Purina to Goodyear to Rapala to Levi's and a whole lot more. In-store or online, check out all the brands Fleet Farm carries to help make your everyday life better.
A jewelry store can be a pretty scary place. It's full of diamonds and gold, and sometimes the salespeople can make you feel like you really don't belong.
Who wants to feel like that? Buying a diamond should be one of the happiest and most exciting moments of your life, and we promise to make it that way for you. Cross my heart. No matter your age, how you're dressed, or how much money you have, you're going to have a magical experience when you come to Kessler's.
You're going to see the largest selection of diamond engagement rings in one place at one time than you've ever seen in your life.
Looking at rings is a wonderful way to spend time together. And when you find the ring you know is the one, but cash might be a little tight, we've got fantastic financing available and we'll work hard to get you approved.
We're on your side. Kessler's is always on your side. We're 8 stores strong with 6 locations in Wisconsin and 2 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'd be thrilled to have you stop in and see what we're all about.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. WTMJ Now.
A couple minutes left in the hour. A lot of people want to weigh in on the quest for cashless. I don't think we're ever going to get there completely, but we are moving in that direction. Got to make them quick. Jackie from Cedar Grove. Hi, Jackie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Steve. So I've got an interesting story for you. When I was a student at the Medical College of Wisconsin, one of my fellow students was an international student from China, and her grandmother was paying her tuition at school, which was significant. At the time, I graduated in 2019, but it was about $25,000 a semester.
That's significant.
So nothing to sneeze at, but it's medical school. This sweet girl did not, for the life of her, she could not understand our banking system. So she did everything in cash, including her tuition. She didn't trust bank transfers. She had her grandmother wire her $25,000 every semester, and then she'd get it from like Western Union. I don't even know where you would find a Western Union anymore. And she would put it in her purse and bring it to school. And I talked to the registrar one day, and she said, oh my gosh, she said, every time this girl comes in, she's like, I have to take it. She's like, it's legal tender.
Yeah.
But then I have to shut down the office right away because I don't have a safe that can handle this much cash.
I'm glad you called because the risk of doing that seems insane to me. Especially with
that's where I was too. Like that's crazy. I always paid by check until they updated their online system and I could just pay online.
Right. Now, thanks for sharing the stories, Jackie. That's a, as much as some people want to be all cash. That seems crazy to me. We can squeeze in Rose from Madison. Hi, Rose. Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday.
Hi, Steve. Happy Thursday to you, too.
Appreciate it.
I was just going to point out the flip side of the merchants charging 3%. I've now seen some restaurants, et cetera, where they will give you a 3% discount if you pay with cash.
Yeah, it's interesting that there's kind of a war going on there between the ones that don't like cash and the ones that do it. I don't blame you. How often do you see that, Rose?
Interesting. It's in odd places, like at Rockford Airport. They do that. It's restaurants, I think, is and your producer was talking about a Chinese restaurant where if you pay with cash, they don't charge you tax.
Oh,
so
that's interesting.
Yeah,
it seems illegal.
Yeah, interesting. I know. I think that's true.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Rose, calling from Madison. A lot of people want to weigh in. We're gonna shift gears because the news is next here on WTMJ. So we'll round out the show with a robust 11 o'clock hour and have some fun along the way. Join us. News is next.
More of WTMJ now after this.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security Decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Shop the January New Year's sale on better quality furniture and mattresses at Ken Michaels Furniture.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 11 o'clock, it's 37 degrees and foggy. That dense fog advisory is still in effect until noon. Visibility could drop as low as a quarter mile in spots. A high of 40 today. Rain arrives late and continues tonight with a low of 36. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. Continuing to follow this developing story this morning, the city of Milwaukee gaining court approval for ownership of Northridge Mall. The Milwaukee Business Journal reports Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Glenn Yamahiro approved and signed the transfer of ownership to the city, which is a key step for officials to begin the process of demolition. The mall closed about 20 years ago and has remained vacant since. Chinese investment group U.S. Black Spruce Enterprise has owned the bulk of the property since 2008 and was not present for today's court hearing. Black Spruce will have 45 days to appeal the ruling. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson scheduled to hold a press conference at City Hall around noon. We'll have more on this throughout the day on WTMJ. Meanwhile, at this hour, President Biden on his way to Superior, Wisconsin, bringing with him bipartisan infrastructure law funding.
2 years since President Biden's last visit to the Blatnick Bridge in Superior, the president returning this time with a big check. White House Assistant Press Secretary Olivia Dalton tells WTMJ,
$1 billion to make sure that the Blatnick Bridge remains operational.
A facelift she says is needed.
It's a vital commercial corridor that sees the flow of billions of dollars worth of goods.
The bridge was slated for decommissioning by 2030 because it was in such bad shape. Dalton says if that were the case, it
was going to be a real economic blow to the region and to our country.
Wyatt Barmore-Pooley, WTMJ News.
Governor Tony Evers says he will veto a redistricting proposal passed by the state assembly on Wednesday, reiterating the only maps he would sign are those in his original unaltered proposal.
No, I won't sign it. The only one that I'll sign is my maps, and those are not my maps.
The body had passed a proposal based on Evers' original draft Wednesday, but with amendments that would reduce the number of Republican incumbents who would have to face one another in November. The next important date in the redistricting case is February 1st, when the state Supreme Court's consultants will file a report evaluating each map proposal. And the mother of a Michigan high school shooter is sitting for opening statements in her trial.
Passionate opening statements on both sides in the trial of Jennifer Crumbley, the mother of Michigan high school shooter Ethan Crumbley. Her defense attorney Shannon Smith telling jurors Jennifer isn't responsible for the 4 students who were killed in November 2021 at Oxford High School.
And had no way to know what was going to happen.
But prosecutor Mark Key said Crumbley's willful disregard of her son's behavior and access to a gun makes her criminally liable.
Jennifer Crumbley didn't pull the trigger that day, but she is responsible for those deaths.
Derek Dennis, ABC News.
And high school juniors at Milwaukee Public Schools can now apply to Milwaukee's 2 largest colleges for free. Milwaukee Direct Admit, a new initiative from the M-Cubed partnership, provides a streamlined application for either Milwaukee Area Technical College or UW Milwaukee without requiring fees or additional paperwork such as essays or letters of recommendation. Students who apply are guaranteed acceptance to at least one of the schools they select. Time for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update at this hour. All green for the majors still as they react to news the U.S. economy grew at a good pace of 3.3% in the fourth quarter. The Dow Jones up 79 points to 37,885. The S&P 500 is up 21 to 4,890. And the NASDAQ up 87 to 15,570. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Big win for the Bucks in the post-Adrian Griffin era. We'll have that plus your roads and 5-day forecast up next. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
The
There are many reasons to choose document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Chris McLean, co-owner of DBAT Brookfield, the baseball and softball training facility, had his reasons.
I think the biggest thing, the important things for me are effective communication and timely response.
James Imaging Systems, Kyocera copiers, Kyocera network printers, Kyocera color systems, and the James team that works with you to provide the business technology to help you thrive.
Honestly, Candy had a lot to do with it.
Candy, your James Imaging Systems sales representative.
Candy built great rapport with our general manager right out of the gate. It helps that they're a local business. We're a local business as well.
James Imaging Systems, effective communication and local responsiveness.
They're a partner. James Imaging is a partner, not a vendor.
Kyocera from James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
One day, a 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission structure will be commonplace. But for now, it's not the case. So you can pay 6% for what we can do for about half that, or you can pay less for full service. For some, it's hard to believe, but for our customers, they know it to be true. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, and our agents understand the meaning of great customer service. And you'll see they're the cream of the crop. So don't pay more than you have to. Pay less for full service with Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com. The reviews are in, and folks seem to like how we do business. And what's more, they can't get over the level of service and real estate expertise they get for far less than what they'd pay an agent from a big-name company. At 3.5 to 3.9%, you'll save up to nearly 50% in commission by choosing a Benefit Realty full-service agent. Everything they do, we do, for up to 50% less. There's no catch. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. See our success stories at benefit-realty.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update.
Beyond 35 points, 18 boards, and 10 assists from Giannis, the Bucks, a day after firing head coach Adrian Griffin, beat the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night. This one by a final of 126-116.
Giannis with a big swooping jam as he sends it down. Look out below. The Greek Freak taking that one out on the rim.
The Bucks with the win, securing their third in a row, and will next host Cleveland again tomorrow night. Over to college hoops, where the number 14th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles won their third game in a row on Wednesday night, beating DePaul on the road 86-73.
Got Mitchell, three in the corner. Wow. Sweet Davy Mitchell.
And lastly, as the Packers search for their next defensive coordinator, the Michigan Wolverines will be on the search for their next head coach, as Jim Harbaugh has reportedly agreed to a 5-year deal to become the next LA Chargers head coach on Wednesday night. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Checking your roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We are free and clear at this hour. No incidents, no delays. Just be mindful that fog, even still at 11:07, is still quite thick throughout the area, so keep your low beams on and take it slow.
Traffic is brought to you by Rejuvenix, your non-surgical joint therapy experts.
Rejuvenix. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenix.com to request your appointment.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. The dense fog advisory still in effect for about another hour until noon across all of southeast Wisconsin. Rain late this afternoon as well, with a high of 40 degrees. Overnight tonight, foggy, rain again, low down to 36. More of the same for your Friday, a high of 41. We dry out Saturday, but stay cloudy, 41 the high. Sunday, 39 and cloudy. Monday, mostly cloudy, a high of 38 degrees. In Madison right now, cloudy skies and 35. Green Bay checking in at cloudy and 34. Waukesha, 33 in clouds. And in Milwaukee, cloudy, foggy, and 37 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue, it's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Big Show here on WTMJ. Yes, I am Steve. It is WTMJ Now. News, opinion, why it matters in Wisconsin. At least for now. Now, this is when we do our fun Mine Shaft giveaway. And we've tweaked it a little bit. We only ask one question. We take calls. Now is the time to call, 855-616-1620. The WTMJ Talking Text line. $30 gift card from the Mine Shaft up for grabs. I'll wait for those calls. Producer Charlie will take those calls, and I'm going to give you the question. Whoever gets it right wins the $30 gift card. And if you listen to our commercials from our great partner at Mine Shaft, Thursday, buy one pizza, get one free. As John McCure likes to say, buy 10, get 10 free. I got to ask the folks at Mine Shaft, what's the record? Like 50 pizzas, 50 free? Like what's the... Can we find that out? Can we ask our sales team to find the answer to that question? 855-616-1620 is the number you should call if you want to see if you can't win that $30 gift card, I should say, $30 gift card from Mine Shaft. Let me quickly find the question of the day. I sent it to myself in the morning, and then I have to search for it on my good old computer here. Here it is. As you know, I talk about a lot of things on this show. And this one has to do with something we talked about earlier, and that's politics, right? I talk about politics a lot. Not as much as some of the insane folks that do what I do, that literally get in front of a microphone or sit in front of a microphone and yell at you about 3 hours about politics. But I like to dip my toe, as they say. So I see the callers are lined up. This one has to do with politics, and I'm going to read the question, and then I'll give you the three answers. And then first up is Jody. She will guess what she thinks the right answer. They're just names today, so it should go fairly quick. So one of my regular weekly segments is, of course, Ask Steve Anything. Any question, fair game, politics, culture, entertainment, sports, all of that. One of the callers asked me a question on Ask Steve Anything. If I had the golden ticket, who would I pick to be the Republican nominee? But it couldn't be one of the people currently running. So who did I say would be my choice? Here's the three possible answers. Let's bring in, where's Jody at? There's Jody. Jody, are you there?
Yep.
All right. Did you hear the question?
I did, but I have no idea, but I'll take an educated guess.
All right. It's always best to take an educated guess versus just one that you're just throwing a dart against the wall. All right. So here's the three choices, A, B, or C. Only one is correct. A, Liz Cheney. B, Paul Ryan. Or C, Mitt Romney. Jody from Waukesha, what's the right answer?
Oh, I would say B.
B, Paul Ryan?
Yeah.
Jody from Waukesha, you are our winner right out of the gate. And you didn't even know the answer, but you guessed correctly. So you are a winner of a $30 Mine Shaft gift card.
Yep. Great.
All right. So stay on the line. Producer Charlie will get all your important info. And congrats on playing and being the winner of That's What Steve Said, $30 Mine Shaft gift card. Have a great rest of your day. That's Jody from Waukesha, everybody. And thanks to Mike and Diana, who are also on the line. I wonder if that's the Diana I know. Curious. So, yeah, it was Paul Ryan. And should we play the clip, Charlie? Do you have the clip ready? Let's see if Charlie has it ready. Just to hear what I actually said about it.
I have a very simple question for you. If I gave you a golden ticket, and this ticket you can give to whoever you want, and they are instantly the nominee, it just cannot be anybody that's currently running. Who are you giving that ticket to?
Paul Ryan.
Okay.
Who would you give it to if you had the same opportunity?
Honestly, I'd probably say the same thing.
There you go. You know why that is, Matt? Because we're guys that believe in common sense logic, and we don't buy into the... Thanks for the call, Matt, by the way. We don't buy into the nonsense that Paul Ryan is a rhino, which is the most overused term, misused term, in the history of political terms. That's brilliance. Let's put that on a commercial. It's absolute brilliance. Oh, no, by the way, for the knuckleheads that send in a text that says rhino, it's not R-H-I-N-O. It's R-I-N-O. All caps. Rhino is an animal. Rhino, without the H, is a Republican in name only. And there are real rhinos out there. You know who the biggest one is? Donald Trump. Don't tell anybody I said that. All right, we'll take a break here. Lots more to get to, including this. This country, United States of America, increasingly becoming more non-religious. What's that about? We'll discuss after this.
More of WTMJ now after this. Wisconsin's Morning News.
You think my guy's going to be back out on his moped?
Listen to Vince Vitrano every weekday starting at 6 a.m.
And so I'm on this ramp, and in front of me is this dude on...
It's a moped, man.
You think
it's a moped? That's what it is, yeah.
It certainly looked like an e-bike to me.
It was well short of a motorcycle, I'll tell you that.
I got to ask you, Vince, did you feel a weird sense of responsibility? I got to protect this guy because he's obviously
No, I just thought it was funny.
Only here on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi, and boy, do I love talking about Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin. You know where that border is between Oak Creek and Franklin. That is 27th Street, just south of Rawson Avenue on the west side of the street. They are amazing. They reimagined my basement floor landing area. It used to be kind of old, funky linoleum, at least 25 years old. Their design team came up with a great solution. It sort of looks like wood planks made for basement. If you have a question about flooring, they also did my kitchen 20-some years ago. Still looks fantastic today. They can answer all your questions. They can help with your flooring and remodeling needs, by the way. Home or business, doesn't matter. Family owned and operated, Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street. I'm a big fan. You should be too. Stop in and tell them Steve Scaffidi sent you, or visit them online at adairfloors.com.
Hey, Gene Miller for Forest Ridge Senior Residences, a caring community known for its small-town friendliness while offering luxury living in a big way. Nestled in the village of Hales Corners, Forest Ridge delivers first-class amenities, accommodating active lifestyles with entertainment and transportation. Enter through the fully renovated community center with exquisite dining to see our brand-new 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, where your rent is frozen until 2026. Come tour Forest Ridge Senior Residences today. Call 414-485-9507.
Hey 620 WTMJ fans, Gary Ellison here for my friends at Best Electric Services. They're family owned and operated and have been serving you for over 50 years. No job is too big or too small, whether it's completing a residential or commercial project or even installing electrical vehicle charging. Best Electric provides quality service at fair prices. They are experienced and licensed electrical contractors ready to get to work. Connect with the Best Electric Services. Find out what they can do for you and visit bestelect.com today.
It's David Nason, your personal inspection pro from WTMJ's The Fix-It Show. I'm with my go-to basement repair guy, Chris Mancuso of Accurate Basement Repair. This is the team I personally recommend for leaky or cracked basements.
Wow, thanks, David. Our team at Accurate Basement Repair has been fixing leaky and cracked basements for the Fix-It listeners for over 20 years.
That's great, Chris. For more information about how to schedule a free inspection and estimate, check out AccurateBasementRepair.com, because they're not just good, they're accurate.
WTMJ Now.
Well played, Producer Charlie. Yes, that's the question as I pose it. So I saw this story yesterday online. It originally was posted at the Washington Post. More Americans are non-religious. Who are they and what do they believe? So just some historical detail here. In the last 50 years in this country, it differs greatly in other places around the world, so I'll focus on the United States. 50 years ago, 95% of the population was religious, called themselves religious. You know what it is today? 70%. Now, I am curious, I'm just generally curious, probably why I have a radio show, on why that is. Now, you can point to a lot of things over the last 50 years. Television, internets, social media, breakdown of the family, decline in two-parent households. Not trying to ostracize or blame single-parent households, but I'm just a fan of the two-parent variety. So Pew Research Center looked at some of this stuff. All demographics, age, race, politics, education. 56% say they still believe in some higher power. 67% say they have a belief that humans have a soul or spirit. But what I'm really fascinated by is why this is. Now, some people would say that religions, faith groups have contributed to the problem. Look no further than scandals. Look no further than the one reality that most faith groups never want to talk about, and the fact that as religion has been used as a basis for war since people had consciousness. It's the ugly fact. Most religions preach nonviolence. Most people that are, I shouldn't say that, some people who practice a faith leave their place of worship and are some of the most negative, violent people on this planet. So faith groups don't get off the hook here either. 855-616-1620. Will this trend continue? And what does that mean for us? I've argued on this show. Faith is important. I'm a person of faith. I try to live my faith. Born and raised a Catholic, went to Catholic school. And how I approach my life away from my place of worship or even away from my faith, whether that's in the community, on the radio, kind of the same thing. I would argue, and it's kind of unfortunate, far too many people, that's my faith life. When I get out of the church or wherever, synagogue, I'm a completely different person. Often rude. Sometimes violence. Sometimes not the nicest person. I've never understood that difference. Perhaps somebody can explain it to me. Faith is a powerful force. Always has been. Probably always will be. There's that other interesting piece of where many large faith groups in our world, right? Muslims, Jews, Catholics, Lutherans, Sikhs, or Sikhs, believe different things. And often those differences create conflict, which is what I was talking about earlier with the evidence, facts that often faith is the driver for conflict. And that's an ugly reality that a lot of people don't want to face. 855-616-1620. Do you think the trend continues? Used to be 95% practice religion. Now it's 70%. Will that trend that declining number continue? 855-616-1620. And if you have an explanation that's different than mine, I've given you a couple of them. Technology, I think, is as a contributor. Exposure to some of these negative influences matters. Single-parent households, that's another one I think is important to look at. Again, not blaming single parents. You do the best you can. Plenty of people have gone through that reality and done just fine. Lack of parenting is certainly another one. And then the faith groups themselves. Scandals. I don't have to look any further than my faith on what that story's looked like over the last 50 years. It's ugly. Push people away from the church. What do you think? 855-616-1620. The WTMJ Talk and Text line. Your contribution, your input, your feedback, your comments after this.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Hi, it's Brian Noonan from WTMJ Nights. I've got some big news. Starting now, you can download WTMJ Nights wherever you get your podcasts. That's right, you can enjoy our nighttime fun anytime you want. Find WTMJ Nights on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Local news, national stories, random silliness. You'll get a bit of everything on WTMJ Nights. So join me, Brian Noonan, weeknights from 6 to 9 here on WTMJ, the WTMJ mobile app, or wherever you get your podcasts. WTMJ Nights. Listen whenever and wherever you want.
This is Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. With the recent stretch of cold weather, some people were ready for it, some weren't. Being prepared takes time and effort. When we're talking about investment and retirement planning, it's the same thing. Take the time and get prepared. If you're tired of sales pitches, how about a breath of fresh air? Annex Wealth Management is a diverse and talented team that provides guidance with no products to sell, zero commissions. Investment and retirement planning can be complicated. We know that, but here's the deal. Annex handles it all. They'll create a plan that factors in Social Security, your pension if you have one, IRAs, 401ks, and let's not forget about taxes. Year-round tax planning is a key factor in the success of your plan, especially now. It's a plan built by fiduciaries, not someone selling insurance disguised as financial advice. Annex Wealth Management is ready to assist. For investment retirement planning, tax planning, and estate planning, know the difference. Start at annexwealth.com.
Brewers win!
Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
I'm Clean Living Environment's Kelly Lammert. Utilizing both agitation and high-powered suction, Clean Living Environments gets more allergens, pollutions, particulates, more everything out of your ducts. With Clean Living Environment's clean ducts, you get a more healthful home than with suction alone. Cleaner ducts mean a better life. Once your ducts are Clean Living Environments clean, we'll seal them, then you'll get more money in your checking account every month going forward out of your ducts. Get more out of your ducts. CleanLivingEnvironments.com. That's CleanLivingEnvironments.com.
It's WTMJ Now.
More and more people saying no to religion. Why is that? Lots of people weighing in. I haven't seen the text line spin like this in a while. From the 414, I became more religious during COVID-19 when I was helping my mother do virtual church services online. I still do the services online and even go in person since she passed away in July. That's a great story, actually. From the 920, people are less religious because the government gives so much for nothing. People don't have any reason to praise for things they have, my opinion. Less religious from the 414 because of the moral failures of church leaders worrying more about membership and less about forming core morality that people feel secure in. From the 262, this is a common one as well. I'm a Catholic. I do not attend regular services. God is everywhere. Too much begging for money in sermons, too much fighting and backbiting among parishes that, quotes from the texter, share a priest. Let's go to the phone lines. Scott from Greendale first up. Hey, Scott, welcome.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for taking this up.
Absolutely.
I think three things come to mind for me. One, I think, is pretty explainable. People are just busier, and whether it be kids in travel, sports, and clubs, and people just we growing up. I know in the '80s, like I was. I'm 49. Sundays, that was it. It was reserved for that. There were no tournaments taking me out of town for soccer, things like that. So the busyness. And then I think, too, culture has become a lot more chaotic, and with a chaotic culture, I feel like we are holding on tighter. We need to know answers immediately. We want to know why something happened. And for those that practice their faith, I'm Catholic like you, but even for all of us Christians, we know, for example, that Christianity is revealed, and it's not revealed at the time we want it to be. He reveals it to us on his timeline, and I think people have a problem with that. And then I would just say, finally, I think it's hard, right? Like any relationship you have with your spouse, with a friend, you go through good times, you go through bad times, but those relationships take work, right? Look how prominent divorce is. Or people leave a job as soon as they're unhappy with a boss, right? Or you walk away from that friendship when maybe times get a little bit harder. And the fact of the matter is, at the basis of all of our Christianity, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, the fact of the matter is you're walking on a journey in a relationship with Christ. And when you don't get from him what you want at that moment, are you going to walk away? Or are you going to listen? Are you going to trust? So I think
more and more people are walking away. I mean, that's the reality. Thanks for the call, Scott. I wanted to let you get all that in there. Look, immediacy is part of this. We want instant answers. Faith doesn't necessarily always provide that. And let's be really honest, brutally honest, some people, their willingness to commit to faith is basically an hour or two on a Saturday or Sunday. Joel joins us from Butler. Hey, Joel, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call, Steve. I find it in my own life to be a product of modern liberalism. The people that want to promote themselves as being liberal want to also be pro-abortion. Well, you can't be pro-abortion and a good Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are the rules, right? Thanks for the call, Joe. I think a lot of people want to craft their faith in the way they see it. Well, correct me if you're a faith leader, that's not how it works. There's in some cases, the written word, there's the text, there's the, for lack of a better phrase, code of conduct that applies to a person who is practicing that faith. And if you live in that reality, that's how it's supposed to work. The real reality, though, is for more and more Americans, because we're talking about America here, as individuals have become busier, as they live in this world of split-second answers, immediacy, challenging family relationships, hyper-partisanship, the ugliness of politics, the vacuum of a world spent watching reality TV versus just the real life that you live in, which is interesting and strange at the same time. That's what's going on here. Sam calls us from a beautiful part of the state, Door County. Hey, Sam.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
Great. Oh, I'm good. Great calls prior to mine. They're fantastic.
I agree. What do you think?
I think it's hypocrisy that keeps people or turns people away. And I say that because many of the bigger churches have actually participated in criminal activity. And it's tough to, want to align yourself with that.
Yeah, the scandals, I don't have to look any further than the Catholic Church, but it's not unique to Catholics. This has happened across faiths and across the world, where there are people who take advantage of people that, frankly, have put themselves in that situation but don't deserve to be preyed on. And I think you're exactly right. It is hypocrisy. And I think that if we look at, I assume you're a person of faith. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mm-hmm. For me, it sets a standard of conduct, right? How I'm supposed to act. Again, not perfect. None of us are. We're all sinners. But it sets a standard of conduct that for most of us is reasonable, makes sense, and allows us to function without living in a world where everyone's yelling at us or we're yelling at other people. I prefer to have that, and that's sort of the baseline for me of why religion is important.
Yeah, just taking a minute in a second in a bad situation to see, Lord, just help me. It can change everything.
Faith
can change everything.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Sam. Again, this is just my analogy, but faith is the hand reaching out to help you get through a tough situation, right? That's a very common one, because when you're in a marriage that's not working, or if you're in a whatever situation you're in, often that conversation with a faith leader or professional, someone who's of the church or the synagogue or the temple or wherever, can kind of work you through those problems versus struggling with them by yourselves. Look, there is no perfect relationship. We all kind of figured out the nuances of it. That's sort of the new reality. I do think, to answer my own question, this trend will continue until it doesn't. And people will be looking at some point, perhaps not, for a reason to get back into faith. I always get yelled at when I say this, usually not yelling, but angry emails. Part of being a great faith leader is to understand the history, but also understand the present. Too many faith leaders, they understand the history just fine. They understand the tenets of their faith. They don't understand the present very well. And that sometimes unwillingness or just a general lack of awareness hurts recruitment or membership in religious faiths. It does. And that has to be part of the equation. It has to be. Churches that are growing are recognizing that. They have, again, for lack of a better term, PR people. They make it more interesting. That's part of the dynamic. There's a movie, Sister Act, with Whoopi Goldberg. One of the ways they got people in there was by entertaining them in church. Whoopi Goldberg, singers. That was a simple example. Not that your job is to be an entertainer, but your job is to make it interesting. How many of us raise our hands? And I've been going to church for a long time. I'm sitting there thinking, I know what the message is here because I've heard it a million times. You are a lousy storyteller. And I'm sorry if that hurts feelings, but I've said it more often than not. All of these things matter. You want to increase the number of people that at least profess to have a religion? Give them a reason to say that. We'll take a break here.
It's WTMJ Now.
Kessler's gives you diamond choices that no one else can give you.
We have all the colors and clarities and carat weights of diamonds that come from diamond mines.
And we also have diamonds that come from plasma chambers, newborn created diamonds.
Is it time to buy an engagement ring?
Or a big anniversary diamond?
Tell them what an anniversary diamond is, Monica.
An anniversary diamond can be twice as big as the one in her engagement ring.
Why twice as big?
Every diamond makes a statement.
Okay.
The anniversary diamond says, I love you twice as much today as the day I married you.
Now tell them about our miraculous no small print warranty.
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed.
It's just that simple.
And all maintenance is free forever.
No charge.
Yes, it really is that miraculous.
You found a partner you want to share your life with.
When you're ready to celebrate.
We've got a diamond for that.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
What's better than free? How about play free all year? This January at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee, you can win over $2,000 in reward play every month all year long. Just play your favorite games to earn prize drawing entries. Then stop by each Thursday night in January to see if you're a winner. $400,000 in prizes is up for grabs. Over 40 winners each week. Yeah, free is for me. More info at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
WTMJ Now.
Whenever you talk about religion, you're getting a lot of people that are interested in that conversation, and the text line is absolutely spinning. So thanks to all of you for taking the time. I'll read some of those. I mentioned before that when I get in trouble on this topic, at least that's how I'm describing it, people will say, oh my God, you're so critical of faith groups. I appreciate religion. I appreciate faith. I expect, though, that all of us are sort of on the same plane here. And when I see people that I go to church every Sunday, and then I see the behavior outside of that place of worship, it does give me pause and make me question, are you really listening when you go to your church or your place of worship? Because I see the ugliness come out of you in conversations, in social media. Sometimes you can hide by anonymous accounts. Sometimes you can't. How does that work exactly? How are you practicing the tenets of your faith, whatever that faith is? Tom joins us from Columbus. Hey, Tom. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Excellent show. Very interesting.
Thank you.
You know, the political involvement, and again, it's not one-sided, but it has built up in my wife and I, and we just, the political involvement of our church is, we just don't think the two belong together. And, we're starting to hear a little bit more from friends that we do have fellowship with that we think, and it's a different show entirely, but we kind of would like to see the tax exemption status go away too. They benefit from all our services that we provide, but they pay nothing.
Yeah, Tom, I'm glad you called and made this point because I did this about a few months ago. This is an interesting topic, question, because we're seeing churches increasingly, especially leaders of churches, be more political. That doesn't fall into that tax exempt status. In fact, they're not supposed to do that, but yet they are.
Right. And again, it's not a slam against any faith or any denomination of any faith or anything. It's getting old. It's getting old, and they want to dictate to us what we should do, but we can't dictate to them.
Yeah, and it really gets old when they're telling you how to vote in the polling place. Thanks for the call, Tom. That's a big one. The politicization. What are we told about Iowa? Evangelicals for Trump. That is a direct violation of that tax-exempt status, especially when you have local faith leaders saying this out loud, advocating, not endorsing, hopefully, although that wouldn't surprise me. That's not how it's supposed to work. And it's for the example of the degradation of enforcement. And again, you could be overly harsh here, but if you have a tax-exempt status, and explicitly within that code, it's said that you will not take a political position, not endorse a candidate or a party. Should the rest of us not say, oh, maybe they don't need that tax-exempt status? As I said, I got a lot of texts. I want to read some of these. The pastor I watch in Appleton has an uncanny ability to make his sermons and activities relevant to my life and current events, even though he's a Minnesota Vikings fan. Well done. So if you can make that worthwhile, good luck to you. Yes, from the 414. Hypocrisy in religion. How can the evangelicals, I just mentioned this, support Donald Trump? It's a fascinating question. I have not heard a good answer to that question. And just on its face, given just today. Quote from a source from the Trump campaign. They're going to, I'm paraphrasing, take down Nikki Haley. Make her life miserable. So evangelical supporters of Donald Trump, how is that consistent with your faith exactly? Someone has to explain that to me. This is from the 262. I think it's simple as God is way down on our list of priorities. We crave things and excitement over spiritual life. That's our priority for most people now. This is another important one. How can you not question why almost all religious institutions hold women down as second-class citizens? Fascinating. I don't have the answer to that question. You've heard me say this over and over again. I think women are smarter than men. They certainly are usually better behaved, less likely to be serial killers. We know that. Extreme example. Less likely to commit violence, more likely to be the victims of violence. We'll squeeze Phil in here before we go to break. Hey, Phil, welcome. City of Cudahy.
Yeah, hi, Steve. Say, listen, recently I decided to switch places of worship, and I was trying out a couple of places. And, for example, I walked into a Baptist church, and I have to say, afterwards I talked to the fellas there. I said I was a bit disappointed in the fact that you've got American flags. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's American flags all over their church and 4th of July things. And I just said to him, I go, I'm not fond of that because it does say in the scriptures that my kingdom is no part of this world. And that's what Christ said. So I personally believe that any religion that is getting mixed in political affairs, taking that position, I'd walk away from. That's me personally.
Interesting. Interesting
example.
Yeah, interesting comment, Phil. I'm glad you made it. That's just a perspective on flags. Flags have become a prop. I was watching some political coverage yesterday. It's a battle now to who can have the most flags behind the candidates on stage. Used to be 1, then it was 3, then it was 5. Now I think there was like 18 that I counted last night. You see it with sometimes the media campaigns of media professionals. More flags, flying jets is supposed to indicate, I guess, a hyper-patriotism, as if that's, those things are equatable. If you use a flag as a prop, including in church, you're kind of defeating the purpose of the flag. We'll take a quick break here. 11:41 on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I told you about the snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. No more. I did something about it. I went to Advent, one of the great facilities, talked to 2 of their docs. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. In a quick 30-minute visit, I found out they could figure it out. They put me at ease. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined the root cause of my problem, sinuses, nasal passages in my breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in office, breathing better than ever, sleeping through the whole night. That can be your reality, too. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, do what I did. Find out for yourself. Go to AdventKnows.com. AdventKnows.com. Schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
New year, new ride. Griffin brings you the ultimate New Year special. $179.95 for a complete car pampering, oil change, tire inspection and rotation, air filter and wiper blade replacement, multi-point inspection, battery check, and heat inspection. Drive into the new year with confidence, only at one of Griffin's 5 service departments. See Griffin for details and restrictions.
Discover wants everyone to feel special with 24/7 customer service as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations apply.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Comfort Awnings. You've heard me talk about the wonderful new retractable awning the team at Comfort Awnings installed at my home. Now I can have all the cookouts and get-togethers in my backyard with some extra shade and relaxation for my guests. Comfort Awnings is a local family-owned company in Burlington that provides expert installation in southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Right now, you'll receive a free motor with the purchase of any awning or screen until the end of January. Call 414-AWNINGS for a free estimate or visit comfortawnings.com.
Looking for some winter magic? Head to Lake Geneva for the 29th Annual Winterfest and U.S. National Snow Sculpting Championship. Watch and wonder as 15 of the best snow sculpting teams in the country create larger-than-life masterpieces right before your very eyes. Enjoy bonfires and s'mores on the beach and live entertainment. Explore the downtown ice sculpture walk featuring over 40 beautiful ice sculptures. Don't miss Lake Geneva's Winterfest, January 31st through February 4th. Learn more at visitlakegeneva.com.
It's WTMJ Now.
Always a lot of interest in a topic that revolves around religion. As I said, I got hundreds of texts in the last half hour. Read some of those. I've been a longtime member of Suburban Church, and sadly, we've lost members solely because they've become extremely politically polarized in their lives outside of our faith community. And they departed because in their narrow view, the pastor didn't openly preach those members' preferred political ideals. I think that's very sad. That is sad. I hate that trend. It's ridiculous. It doesn't mean that faiths can't have real life important things to say. That's part of their process and part of what they do. But to openly advocate for political candidates, no, that's not what faith should be. My opinion. Paul joins us from New Berlin. Hey, Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good. I am wonderful. What do you think?
I am as well. I am deeply rooted in our faith, and we have been for a long time. Our church, I'm Catholic, is very involved, and I couldn't agree with all the other callers as much. One thing that's not discussed that most people are not aware of is the Catholic Church as a whole donates to more charities around the globe than any other faith organization. And there are more people in need than ever before. And we're there to help. And that is the whole premise of our faith, is helping others and doing good. And it's irritating that things like this, it's so easy that everybody bashes the church.
Yeah, I'm not trying. Hopefully, you didn't get the idea that I was bashing church. I just wanted to try to figure out why.
No, I agree.
Yeah, fewer and fewer people are identifying with a specific religion. I'm not here to pick a religion for you. I'm Catholic, you're Catholic, and I agree with you completely. Yep. Catholics are very, very generous members of a faith. I've seen it over and over again in a lot of different ways, including not just here but around the world. That's a reality. I appreciate your call, Paul. This is something we need to pay attention to. I don't bring things up because I think they're just worth talking about. I think there's value in this discussion. And I do hope that the decline is a trend that can be reversed. And what that would require, well, one of the ones that always comes up is and I'm not asking for this, World War situation, an event that kind of mobilizes people in the right direction in a better way. One of the things that we saw this country come together was after 9/11. It was incredible. Support for the president, support for the country, patriotism, all that great. And then it's slowly chipped away, slowly declined since that time. And I wonder if at some point we can reverse that. I hope so. Again, I'm not a person that bashes faiths or individual groups. They're all different. They're all unique. I mentioned the top 5. You can certainly practice your faith the way you want to. I'm concerned about the hypocrisy. I'm concerned that when a entity that's supposed to be a place of faith dips its toe or even beyond that, advocates for political parties or candidates, that's not supposed to be the way it works. If we allow it, then that's on us. At some point, I do believe there's going to be a crackdown. Texter makes my point exactly. It's easier to be a bully if you're not religious. Yeah. We are a country that has a fascination with bullies. If you argue about bullying in high school or bullying in politics, that's just the way it is. That's America. Really? That's how it's supposed to be? Because you're a fan of bullies? I'm in the not a fan of bullies camp. From the 414, it's very difficult to understand faith if you don't experience it as a child. A lot of things are more difficult if you don't experience them as a child. It makes life more difficult. For the 9-2, I think marriage either brings people to church or not. My child married someone who does not go to church. He is taken on that way now. Now they have marriage ceremonies not in a church, but at a venue. Some are now performed by those who have gotten their license to marry others. I think faithlessness is a trend. Yeah, that's the other big part of this, the commercialization of the marriage ceremony. Often presided over by people who are not faith leaders. They got a certificate. Nothing wrong with that. That's the country we live in. Last one before we go to break here. From the 414, my biggest surprise is Tim Scott's. A man of such faith and moral conduct, how do you possibly reconcile supporting the likes of the most immoral person ever run for office, Donald Trump? Let me just say this. I don't want to make it about politics, but he embarrassed himself this week. And at some point, he's going to suffer those consequences. He looked silly and awkward. And just on its basic face value, if a person appoints you to higher office, in the case of Tim Scott, it was Nikki Haley, and you just abandon her or you cheer when another candidate belittles her, how is that being a person of faith? That's my question. Last break, and we'll talk to Tracy Johnson, see what she's going to talk about today on her program. That's next.
More of WTMJ Now after this. Start planning for your retirement today so you enjoy retirement tomorrow. Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday mornings at 7, where Tony Drake and his Education First team discuss retirement trends, taxes, inflation, and Social Security benefits to help you achieve a more secure financial future.
Join us this week as we talk about the coming presidential election and what the political turmoil means for your retirement.
Retirement Ready with Tony Drake on WTMJ.
This is going to be a blast. We're taking listeners to southern Italy and Sicily in fall of 2024. An incredible itinerary, breathtaking Sicily, the seaside towns and cobblestone piazzas, the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean as we sail to Positano, the excavated ruins of Pompeii. Going to be a great trip. Send me an email. I'll get you the information. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. John.Mercure, MERCURE at WTMJ.com. It's Italy this next fall. Come with us.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard, aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Haul away big deals this Thursday through Sunday at Fleet Farm's Truckload Savings Event. Like 40-pound bags of